like that. We back. It is Unpacked, presented by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
All right, so again, we back with another spirited conversation, debate. Just an intellectual sparring session, if anything. But before we get into the topic, y'all see it underneath the video. I'll allow all our panelists to introduce themselves, starting with G.
What's good, everybody? Appreciate y'all tapping in. It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast. Make sure y'all check that out wherever you get your podcast. At GSHPOD. Already on the tequila tonight. Let's get it.
Hey, I feel it. Trey, talk to me.
What's good? It's Trey. This year as a guest with some longtime homies, and hit like and subscribe, interact in the chat.
Yep. A Charlotte legend, talk to us.
Yo, A Black, chilling, happy to be here. Not on the tequila. I need to try that one day. We might get a different show, but yeah, I'm just happy to be here, man, and see where the night takes us.
Gotcha. And last but not least, talk to him, Johnny.
What up? It's your boy Johnny.
Fresh off a hangover?
Not yet. We didn't, couple days we didn't dry it out, but okay. Check out the latest episode of the To Be Fair Show, aired last Sunday, 4:30. It was the bachelor party edition. We got into some good topics. Shout out my homie Q up there. We had a great weekend, so I'm looking forward to another great debate.
Gotcha. All right, so before we get too far into it, G, I'd love for you to make the case that you was making. Michael Jordan should now be pushed a little bit higher because of the Olympics. This is a sidebar conversation, but
I like the way you did it. No, this nigga A Black said LeBron is not a top 20 player all time. He's on the record for saying that, which is just
it doesn't matter how you feel.
Straight hateration. Like top 20 all time. So and all I said is this nigga's Olympic run right now, his presence in the Olympics is pushing him at least into the top 20 all time when he balling like this with his peers. But nobody on the panel seems to think LeBron is doing anything worthwhile.
Hey, G, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I think he number one all time. So man, we ain't gotta do that right now. See, we ain't gotta do that right now. But hey, the resume is the resume. But like we have a whole nother one.
It's an argument, definitely an argument for that.
It's an argument. It's a debate. He's going. If it's a case, he's getting in front of the judge. He might lose. We hear
he might. Think when you line up everything that counts, he will lose. But that again, that's a different conversation.
He might be
everything that counts.
He ain't Jordan. Is like he's not in that level. That's God tier, man. He got to get Kobe out of here first.
Yeah, Trey, you said everything that counts. So if we talk about just like the regular things we always judge great players by, when you say like titles, then you say like MVPs, then you say shit. People used to say scoring titles, point per game averages, like most of the things, defensive player of the year awards, like all the awards goes in a way of Jordan. When you sit and line it up, when you say like somebody played for a really long time and was good for a long time, I don't think anybody can take that away from Bron. But that's the only way that you win an argument. When you like start going with like complete totals for somebody that played for 20 years.
I think good for a long time is an understatement. He was more than just good. Like Vince Carter was good for a long time.
Yeah.
Whatever, like, word that y'all would like to use. He was great for a long time.
It's only one word that
legendary
argument
for a long time.
Impact. How did he change the game? I'll tell you how he changed the game. Making niggas leave their team, be disloyal, and creating these little super teams and shit. That's his impact. But real influence and impact, he's not even more influential than Steph Curry or Allen Iverson. Like people who really changed the game.
Well, I do agree with that. Played, like, the way the game is played.
Like the international shit. I'm looking at the Olympics. They're still wearing number 9 Jordan jerseys in the Olympics. Chinese, Russians, Africans. Everybody out there, like, bro, the dude ain't touched the court in 20 years.
That's just called great marketing.
No, this is called the GOAT, man. This is called the GOAT.
Great marketing. Like,
That was great marketing.
Whoever came up with the jingle for that nigga, like Mike. If I could be like Mike, like this nigga had the whole corporate machine behind him in a way that no other athlete had at the time. Like that's the thing you got to give Jordan credit for from that
No
regard.
other athlete was playing like him.
No other
but who hit a Billy while still being an athlete though?
He's in an era where they're making more money.
Like somebody's getting a 500. Like Jaylen Brown is making almost half a billion.
Jaylen Brown, right?
That in itself should say anything. But as we're on great marketing, I think that lends for us to get into our first meeting.
Plantation Jubilee.
Oh. I ain't see her get it wiggling like that.
You see the people in the background looking.
Look at the white lady. She can't even look at the stage.
Hey, no, watch the white dude with the camera. He gonna pick up the camera in a second. She out there twerking for democracy.
All right, so I know I woke up this morning and heard her say, "Trump better walk it like I talk it." I think like she had a couple quotables that she was really making a push to the black community. And kind of ended off with, I don't know when this happened inside the actual the rally, but she did bring in Quentelyoung. She did bring in Megan Thee Stallion. It seems as though there is a full marketing blitz when it comes down to the Democratic Party. I think that Dr. Umar, we played a clip from him last week. What is y'all thoughts on this? Is this smart? Is this clever? They're in Atlanta, so she's playing to the crowd, to the to the arena, if it makes sense. What is y'all thoughts?
Nigga, free Tory first off, bro.
I mean, listen.
Nigga not even an FBA. I'm surprised to hear Trey jump off the ledge like that for a non-FBA nigga like that. Like, wow.
I don't dislike foreigners. Tory did something good for the game. He was cracking the system as a solo artist, refused to get signed, putting all that good music, sampling FBA music. He didn't even say anything problematic either. So I don't want to see a brother unjustly charged anywhere in the world, especially if they don't mean any harm to foundational Black Americans. So it's not just like
it makes sense though when you got the top cop Kamala up there, they lock them up, Megan. And they call her Madam President. And Madam is a female pimp, and she got the biggest 304 in the game.
Oh my!
Oh wow!
Which one, her or Kamala? Megan or Kamala? Because they say Kamala came up in a crazy way too.
Oh, y'all niggas are double red pill. Like, oh my goodness!
Black pill, not red.
Sarah Bartman, 2024 up there. Like,
no, not.
Both bases are idiots, Republicans and Democrats. So all of this, everything that came out, you ain't heard nothing about her plan. It's all these clapbacks and sound bites and ass shaking and Quavo and Jermaine Dupri and all of this just like entertainment shit. But I'm like, what are niggas about to get? Like, why are y'all happy singing and dancing and celebrating? Like, people ain't dying and struggling and can barely pay their rent, and people still getting bombed out here. Like, and they're just up there clapping cheeks, literally clapping cheeks, and that shit is cool. Like, it's crazy to me. Like that's where our country's at. This shit is not serious at all.
Anybody else?
Okay, I was proud to see a lot of the comment sections. People were like, they weren't having it, they weren't falling for it. They thought it was as ridiculous as it looks. And only the few people that were in favor of it, they were getting clowned pretty heavily. So maybe all of this pandering will backfire.
Yeah, I got that too. Like a lot of girls that's been riding with Kamala, and they were in my DMs like, yeah, this ain't it. Like a lot of people was kind of like, what's happening? Because it's almost like an insult to our intelligence. I can see this inauguration if she just won or something, then maybe, go crazy. But bro, what's your fucking plan? Like, why is cheeks clapping right now? Like, I love that too, but not right now. This is not the time and the place.
Serious times, like Gibson said. It's serious times.
And you need that white woman vote. You don't need our vote. You need the white women.
Yeah, and she it's like you're a woman running for president, but then you out here playing a song that objectifies the body, and then and then Meg is over here trying to make it like politically tasteful by saying, "Who cares? Who loves their body? Y'all make some noise."
Oh,
it's
is that
like,
what you said?
I heard her in the crowd like she's trying to make this body yaddy song something that's supposed to be like body positivity or whatever the case. And it's like, look, man, I just feel like you come into Atlanta. Meg's not even from Atlanta, so it's like it's a reach. Because when you look at Atlanta, like Kendrick said, it's the hub. It's so much native black talent in Atlanta. You feel what I'm saying? My question is, did they reach out to Killer Mike and he told them hell nah?
Take the words up,
Or did they not even consider Killer Mike for something like this? Because when you talk about artists in Atlanta, fresh off Grammy of the Year or album of the year, got a Grammy for that. And he is a staple in the Atlanta community, and he's been, and from a hip hop standpoint, he's got to be one of the most politically activated niggas in the last 10 years when it comes to having intelligent, articulate thoughts, well-researched thoughts about politics, policy, all the above. So it's like, I feel like there's a long list of people that they could have chose to give that money she raised in record time to, other than Meg Thee Stallion and her crew, to come through while they on tour. Like,
yeah, but I imagine it'd probably be two things with Killer Mike. One, he's not specifically a Democrat, to my understanding. And then two would probably be metrics, where Megan metrics probably makes more sense for them to bring her out.
Popularity contest.
Yeah.
Like, niggas just want to be entertained. The bulk of it. But I think that's what they're going for. The women, which is so many voters are women. The poor black women, you know, throw Megan in front of them, get up there, say some catchphrases, say it in my face, child, and all that stupid shit. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
oh yeah, she did.
I will say this, like when it comes to both sides, no matter like who it is, I feel like both sides are talking to the people that they need votes for like they're stupid. And I feel like if I'm like on either side, like even if I was a Republican right now after the Hulk Hogan shit, I feel like they talking to me like I'm stupid. I watched the Democrats. I feel like they talking to me like not me specifically, but just whoever's receiving the message. They feel like they talking to us like we stupid. And like at some point, there has to be a pushback on both sides. Like we can't just keep on taking the steps.
Oh yeah, nah, for sure. And I imagine if we was to keep it fair, I definitely just seen a clip of Trump doing his best pandering to the what does Trey call him? Would you call him? Small something about like how
small hats.
How big they hats are.
The 1948ers.
Oh, I like that one too,
yes,
Trey.
Yes,
I like that one too.
Yeah. In which like again, I've seen the pander. It's going both ways, for sure. But right now on Front Street, especially when it hits black culture, that was almost as bad as I thought it could have been. In the words of A Black, Quentelyoung, I think that kind of fits it well.
Man, didn't Megan Thee Stallion, she just got a Planned Parenthood award too, so this is like right up her alley.
I didn't even know them niggas had awards, but on the other side of the coin is you got Trump going to Chicago today. I believe it was today.
Oh yeah, you talking about the? I started watching something. I'll let you keep going. My bad.
It was like a National Black Journalist Convention. If I might be off with one of them words or so, but it was some kind of black convention.
NABJ. It's a National Black Journalist Convention, our Uppity Negro Festival.
And so this dude Trump, man, he gets on stage and like all that equity he could have built off of strategically went right down the drain because he goes up there. He's on a stage with black women. So you in Chicago at that. So just the way he responded to old girl off the rip, like it's like one of those things where it's classic Trump. It probably motivates his base. Like my thing is like I think he made an ass of himself, but I don't think he hurt his chances in the race at the same time, because I feel like the people who are for Trump are so like they see him as a deity almost. It's like almost like religious as it relates to Trump. Logic won't matter. And so I'm like, okay, if they did this at that point and Trump goes up there and disses these people on stage, then questions the legitimacy of the presidential candidate's blackness, which I think is just hilarious that he actually did that, right? As a white man, he doesn't help himself build on that capital of the other side, just like making a mockery of the black community. He's like now like giving them a because the sentiment since he's done that, even though black people have questioned it, is like he can't question that. And I'm telling you, like it's strategically speaking, he wasted all his equity, in my opinion.
And you got a problem with him questioning Kamala's blackness? Like, she's not black, bro. Like,
I'm talking about this. I'm talking strategically. And how people are responding. When
I think because my whole office is there right now, and so I'm getting
in like Chicago.
Yeah, they all went because that's not my department, and so I'm getting real time texts and kind of mixed reviews. Like, for one, a lot of them are saying, you know, it's just a win-win that he even showed up because Kamala turned it down to do the sorority conference or something instead. So, and they told him that she was going to be there. So he came, you know, thinking that she's going to be there. They're going to be able to kind of go back and forth. And it's also on the cusp of him, people saying, oh, he's scared to debate Kamala, which if that was true, he wouldn't be ready to debate these black women journalists who are probably smarter and wittier and more knowledgeable than Kamala. So I think, like, I mean, he's in a lose situation as far as winning them over because they were already on attack mode as soon as he sat down. Like, there was no type of decorum or, you know, really respect for him. They came to, you know, gotcha, get him, and really attack him, and he felt that energy. So he just like, yo, I'm about to come with the same shit. Y'all who like me likes me, who don't. But some of my coworkers were like, yo, we surprised he even showed up, like, because they ready to eat him alive up in here. But so he didn't have to go to that. If he didn't go, then the narrative would have been like, oh, he's afraid. He didn't come to this conference. A candidate's always come to this conference. You know, he's scared to talk to black women and stuff. He showed up, but they attacked him. They wouldn't attack Kamala like that. They'd be up there singing and stepping with her and shit.
I don't disagree with that point, but he knew what he was walking into as well, right? He knew he was walking into an all black environment, and he knows like he knows what he's walking into. All I'm saying is, from a strategy standpoint, when you look at black women voters, I agree. 90+% of black women are going to vote for Kamala. And I don't think nothing's going to really change that between now and then. But when you look at women, like I said, I've been watching the news today. White women are talking about how deplorable that was to like question if she's black or not, because the white power structure don't want people questioning if she's black or not. Like, I think there's some nuance to this where she questioning her, allowing this to be questioned, then opens up the door for us to delineate in a way that they don't want to see. I'm just throwing that out there.
Bro, but she's not black. So what's wrong with him pointing that out?
It's like
she's not
FBA. Just identifying.
No, she's an Indian. She's like an Indian, like from India.
One drop rule.
Her mom's a full Indian and her dad's a half Indian and half Jamaican Indian.
And they
half white, half Indian. She doesn't have a drop.
No. She's not. The dad's not half white, half Indian. He's half Jamaican, half Indian.
No, his granddad was, or great granddad was, a slave owner. He's a mulatto Indian from Jamaica. Like, he's white and Indian, and her mother's full Indian. She doesn't have an ounce, one drop of black blood.
So you're telling me the one drop rule don't apply to the island of Jamaica? Is what you're saying?
She don't have one drop.
You telling me that the dad doesn't have on the dad's thing? It says Caucasian mother, Jamaican father. Those are the things on a certificate.
It says, Austin, we're going to get to mental health.
Take the dropout, and it's like, what does she identify as? It's like,
thank you.
She went to your school.
Yeah,
but she cooked collard greens in the bathtub.
Y'all said last week that her being at Howard and Divine Nine made her more black than Drake. I remember the panel saying that.
But I'm saying though, people keep using HBCUs as a justifier for her blackness, and what I'm saying is, especially Howard is the most one of the most diverse HBCUs. It's Indians there, white people there, it's Asians there, right. It's all over. So take out the one drop stuff. She's had on video, on record, identifying as Indian, being called Indian, not correcting them, not saying she's a black woman. She identifies with what benefits her. When she's in California, that benefited her to identify as Indian and Asian because of the Indian and Asian population out there. Now that she's moving in this space and needs the black vote, all of a sudden she's black. But just going to HBCU don't make you black. A lot of people send their kids there to get them some blackness because they know they're not. But yeah, like the blood and all that shit don't matter. She's on video identifying as Indian like for years. Like that's what Trump was saying. That's what Umar was saying. This whole I'm super black woman shit is new with her.
Yeah, no, look, I'm not look. I just want to be clear. I'm not sitting here trying to even suggest that she's like FBA or ADOS.
No, ADOS, she's not black.
What I'm saying is though, like how we talked about in the past, black doesn't mean where you're from. It describes how you look in America. And what I'm saying is that when you look at her father, you can tell that he's not just Indian and white. The father has black in his genes. Like you can look at
he looks like a light-skinned black man.
Yeah, he's not white and Indian, bro. He looks like he has some black in it. So what I'm telling you is that he's like, so if the father is half black, half Irish, or whatever the case will be,
I mean, to be fair,
and then the mother's
like a black woman.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just because of how she dressed. If she had the traditional Indian garb, you would think that she was a regular Indian woman. And I even saw interviews with her father being disappointed to hear that Kamala claimed to be black. She was not raised as black. Nobody told her she was black. She only became black when got time to run for office to pander to black people who are ready to accept anybody from across the globe into their ethnicity. I don't know why we do that, bro. I think we're updating our files. So,
no, that's America that does that. That's not
us.
No,
we don't have to do that. Like we don't have to accept them just because America says so. We are our own culture and we can stand behind that. And we don't have to allow people in just because America says so.
Hey, fellas, I think that maybe in these upcoming weeks we can have an episode called "Is She Black?" I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot to debate here. But going along with what Miss Austin said, we're gonna try and segue our way into the topic. Yes, today we are going to speak a little bit about mental health, and we'll kind of see how the conversation maneuvers and segues itself. But I'll give y'all the initial question, and I'd love to get y'all opinion, and then we'll kind of build from there. Has the mental health conversation become a helpful solution or a toxic crutch? What is your thoughts?
Toxic crutch is a reach.
It can be both. I mean, I feel like the verbiage, the language is more popular now because of social media. So you see a lot of people being attracted to using certain words or diagnosing themselves. So you have that sect of people who just stressed out or tired or lazy or whatever, and they might want to say they're depressed. And then you have the side of people who are really clinically diagnosed and really deal with depression or deal with anxiety. But we have in our society kind of being conflated when you can't succeed or when you're a failure or when you just have no type of motivation. You can kind of ascribe to these terms, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, I have this or that. When that's not always the case. So a lot of people do use it as a crutch. I see it all the time, but it is real in the sense of some people need to see a therapist. They need to be diagnosed, but they're not. But I think the more popular thing is people kind of just using things as an excuse from my view, and not necessarily dealing with actual mental health issues like your brain is functioning because of things and stuff like that. A lot of times niggas just be lazy and shit.
You got you.
I think it depends on what segment of the population we're talking about. I think there is a segment that they just need more mental fortitude, and they're using that as a crutch. I think for a smaller percentage, I think there is like a space where that's going to be effective. There's a group of, I think there's, and I don't want to put no identity on it, but some people go through more than others. I think if you're a person that's going through a lot, you do need that, mental health. There needs to be a space for you to be able to vent before you be able to get out your frustrations. But 90% of us, we just need to just go a little bit harder. And I think it just depends on who we're talking about. I think for some of us, it's a crutch, and there's actually people who do need
it. I think that I think people need therapy, especially as Black Americans with, where we come from, what we deal with. It's like, there's a book called like Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder, where a lot of our behaviors can be traced back to our times of bondage and our time of, with Jim Crow and all that and everything. But I also think that as the warrior class, we need to be more focused on what we can do to, if we're up against an organized offense, we need to organize a defense. And I think talking about our feelings and emotions instead of talking about strategies to protect our community, that's when it becomes like you're not going to be able to win a war if your main focus is your feelings. It becomes.
Gotcha. Do you think that you can't do both?
I think we've done a lot of one, but not much of the other. We spent a long time talking.
So you think
about
Black men in general have talked about and explored their feelings for a long time?
Definitely. I think ever since Frederick Douglass, we've been talking about our condition. But what are we doing about it? We did something up until the Civil War, and then, then they did the Great Compromise and put that down. Then they did the Highway Act and burned down the towns. Then we talked about a lot with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Then they assassinated them. So we've been rebuilding, and there have been times where I think we focus more on action, but now it seems like we have a lot of like the DL Hughley's and that clip I sent earlier with all those people crying on MSNBC, and I don't think that's very constructive to impact Black empowerment.
Are you conflating two things? So are you saying that you believe that diagnosing the condition of your community is the same as like working on your mental health?
I think we work on our mental health a lot. I think the folks that if you're like a casualty of this war where you're not able to contribute to Black empowerment because we don't want you to make decisions based on your emotions. So if you need to get that together, that's fine. But I think enough of us who are, you mourn when the battle is over. You don't like mourn during the battle. I think we need to focus on getting our empowerment and focus on our enemy instead of, getting in the huddle and then like sharing our feelings in the group. Like we need to share plans of action. That needs to be the priority. We're sad, but we can't be so focused on our sadness that we're not able to strategize, think more like militaristically. And I don't think there's anything in the military strategy that includes, sharing your emotions.
My pushback to that would be a lot of the niggas that come from the military, have significant mental trauma based off of the structure of how the military's ran and what they have to endure and how they have to conform, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not saying that's across the board for every military member. I got a lot of respect for military, all branches, folks who dedicate themselves to that career path. But in a conversation of mental health, I don't think bringing up military as an example is a good example to say like we shouldn't have these problems when in fact that sort of trauma is what often sparks the problems, in my opinion. And when we talk about mental health, I think it's unfortunate that all of us on this call, listeners listening, everybody experiences trauma. And one person's trauma is not everybody else's, right? So you grow up rich, people think you don't have problems because your parents have money, but how you see the world and how you exist and how you internalize things is different than, say, somebody who doesn't have those resources. But who's to say one's trauma weighs heavier than the other? Like when you see suicide and things like that, it cuts across like all socioeconomic classes. And so when we talk about trauma, some people don't have the tools to process the trauma. And I feel like we got to make sure we give people those tools to process that trauma in a healthy way so that it doesn't result in long-term damage and impacting their ability to think and show up as a citizen. So you muted.
Oh, you can hear me now? All right.
Yeah.
So do you think that the people during Jim Crow dealt with more or less than we did?
No, what I'm saying is the people in Jim Crow, like that. I believe in post-traumatic slave disorder, like as a mental diagnosis or whatever the case will be. So I'm not going to suggest that they didn't have to deal with more mental trauma or just trauma in general than we did. I'm not saying that we deal with any less. What I'm saying is that for an individual, trauma is relative. Some of us, like everything's relative to the person. We're all unique. Some people can get yelled at. Some people quiver when they get yelled at. That doesn't mean that because you're not sensitive to somebody yelling at you, doesn't mean that yelling at somebody else can have a severe impact on how they start processing things and how they internalize things. That's all I'm saying is it shouldn't be compared like my experience wasn't your experience, so you shouldn't feel a certain way.
But you would say that the people during Jim Crow who were able to get in the Civil War, who were able to fight for this, get all these achievements that they had to deal with more than what we had to deal with, though, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were able to focus on Black empowerment, even during the Civil War, during Jim Crow. They were able to focus on that. And in this time, when we're standing on the shoulders of those giants, we're talking about we're more in tune with our emotions than they are. And I think we need to take more of their strategy of, persevering in that, and then strategy like more of a militaristic approach for Black empowerment, because if they can do it, then we sure can do it.
Yeah, but so again, but all right, so let's take it there then, because if we're gonna go that route, like my mom was a boomer, my uncles were boomers, my grandparents grew up in a certain generation. I know how they talk about their grandfather. These niggas weren't loving figures in the household. Like these folks who had to endure, like how they had to endure, would come home and unleash on their families, unleash on their wives, unleash on their kids, unleash on the folks who were vulnerable to their unleashing because they couldn't do it other places. So I don't disagree that Black folks had to endure more, but if we're being honest about what that meant in terms of how it impacted the people they loved, like we grow up, or let me not say we, but I know what it's like to come from a family that doesn't display affection, that doesn't say I love you, that don't offer these things. And what I'm saying is that a lot of that is because of what these folks have to endure outside of the household, and they have nowhere else to let it go, nor do they have the tools to cope and manage with those feelings. And so just because they had to deal with more doesn't necessarily mean that made them better people to the folks that they love.
I don't think the world was like the Color Purple movie. I think that there were some places where it was like that. But I think for you to say that during that time, like I don't think the majority of Black men during that time, or even any more than now, were going home and unleashing on their family because of what they had to endure.
Okay.
I think domestic violence rates kind of speak to that. But let me ask y'all this question as we continue building. Well, I'll give y'all a stat. And y'all can I guess respond to the statistic, and we can kind of continue building from there. It says that, and we'll probably try and use this word just so we can kind of avoid getting hit from the algorithm. Self-deletion. The biggest killer of men under the age of 45. This isn't like specific to a race. This is Caucasians and Black. Is self-deletion. Do y'all think that has anything to do with mental health? Is there other factors? Kind of how I'm gonna just toss it into there and allow y'all to kind of speak through it.
I'd love to hear from somebody.
My fault.
I would love to hear from somebody who says that has nothing to do with mental health. Like I would love to hear somebody say that.
Of course, it has something to do with mental health. You have to be in an unhealthy mental state in order to unalive yourself. Clearly, but I think it's interesting that black men have black people have the lowest rate of self-deletion, as much as we endure. Right.
Again, this is where I say you're comparing traumas.
I mean, I think everything is relative, isn't it?
A little bit, but I guess I'll kind of ask you this question. So inside your general theory, where it says that, I guess I'll frame the question this way. Being the fact that the power struggle, like the white men, they tend to commit suicide at the highest rate, if not the highest, they're self-deletion. They tend to commit self-deletion at the highest rate. To me, that would kind of like speak to the idea that two things can be mutually exclusive, where mental health and like whether we're saying is good or bad, that's its own thing, and it doesn't specifically have to do with like the fight for specific power, i.e., like militarize, and like we need to strategize over making sure that like mentally, like we're strong and have that certain fortitude because of the people in America in which we say have the quote unquote power. They committed at an even higher rate than the people that are quote unquote oppressed.
Well, maybe they're just generally more violent because you look at it, they also do most of the genocides, most of the school shootings. I
think that's it more than anything. I think it just speaks to their overall, rate of violence. I think that rate of violence leads to a lot of the power that they've had, or they've gone through that through terrorism and violence.
How would I look that up? I guess. Go ahead.
What's that? School shootings or self-deletion?
No. Don't worry about it.
But like hypothetically speaking, right? Like, and this is not me. Like, I'm saying this from a standpoint of, like, this is why you can't really compare traumas if you don't understand what it's like to be in someone's position. If you are someone born into this world with privilege, and then you feel that privilege slipping away, it's a different perspective than when you're born into this world knowing that you're born perceived to be less than a certain thing, gonna have to work harder than everybody else. Like a lot of us grew up, like, I don't know about y'all, but I was never told life was gonna be fair. I was never told that things were gonna come to me equally. I was never told that things are gonna be handed to you in any sort of way. Like I was never told this. But what if you are born and your understanding of the world is that it is your oyster? There is no obstacle for you. And then you become an adult and you aren't able to do anything because you're trash, or because you can't compete, or because things just didn't pan out the way you want. That, I'm not saying that and on the grand scale of things, that's like the most traumatic thing that someone can go through. But what I'm saying is that when you're that individual going through that trauma and you don't have tools to process your emotions, you don't know how that will end up manifesting, whether that be abusing yourself, abusing other people, unleashing on whatever the case may be, because you don't have the tools to process what you're going through. And so that's my point. It's like, we all have different starting points, and what we perceive as trauma for us is unique to our own individual experiences, not even the group collective. Like, even if you have siblings, the way a parent treated you versus the way a parent treated another parent sibling can be way more traumatic for one sibling, while the other sibling's like, well, that's just what it is. And so this is what I'm saying. The trauma is really, from an individual perspective, is really not about class at this point. When you look at someone's trauma, you can't really like define that from the outside in.
It's a good point, G. Because it's interesting how people seem to project their trauma onto other people, especially black folks. You always see in the comments, they're like, why do we always do each other like that? We have such a problem. But whenever there's a scooter the shooter does something, they're never like, oh, we have a problem in our community. Nobody said that about Trump. but let that have been a black person. We would all been, ooh, it's our fault. Like, and then even like what you were just saying, how you were, I don't think the majority of black people, their grandparents were beating on each other. And you make it seem like during that era there was so much abuse. I don't know if that was so rampant as you making it sound is, you know?
Well, I'm glad you kind of went back to this. So I'm looking at the stats. There is like a slope that kind of goes like this. When it comes down to domestic violence, this is speaking specifically deaths, but domestic violence deaths from this starts at 70s up until now. There's a little bit of an uptick right now, but it still doesn't even compare to what those rates were. But yeah, I can pull it up.
Is it broken down by race?
And
it's not.
And I'm not trying to suggest domestic violence, Trey. What I'm saying is even if you don't beat your wife,
but I can try and look it up.
But you're very mean and mean-spirited in the home. Like you're not a happy person. You're like I said, like when you said, when you're a black man, let's talk early 1900s, late 1800s. My grandfather was born, I think, in 1927, right? As an example, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, you born in that time period. You got a father who is the son of a slave and a working man, got the farm and everything. You having these kids just so you can put these niggas to work. Let's be clear on that. Like that's the only like we ain't even having sex because it feel good. We out here fucking to make babies and produce like for our crops and shit like that. What I'm saying is like the emotional the emotional toll that takes on a black man impacts how he shows up for his kids and the love that he shows to the family. And unfortunately, I think that has had like a clear impact on that particular generation that raised baby boomers, in my opinion.
So, hey Trey, quick question. So, do you believe what he's saying is incorrect? The idea of projection, where go ahead.
I think that, of course, it seems like there's always this focus on black men as if a lot of this stuff isn't bi-directional.
Are you saying
like a lot of the women, you don't think that they saw how they would go work in the homes of Mr. Cartwright, and they would come home and they would get mad at their husband about why can't we have this? Why can't we, you know what I mean? And just like browbeat them, the classic trope, the sapphire trope, or the lady from like Miss Jefferson's, that trope of like the nagging lady who's always on her man for not being able to give her the life that Becky has down the street. So and then it seemed like you seem like
it was
focus on. I'm not saying it's justified, but I don't like this. It's always like blame the black man, bro. And it's just
no, I'm not even blaming the black man. I'm saying this is the things that black men had to go through at a time where they didn't have the ability to show anything else other than this hard face and strength. There was no room for a black man to be quote unquote emotional in those days. There was no room for a black man to really do anything that could be perceived as weak or soft. Like that was not, culturally speaking, that was not acceptable.
Hey, Black, I hope you hop in real quick. Talk to me.
No, so I was listening to the convo. I definitely think trauma in your environment is directly correlated to mental health, and then specifically from the original question, unaliving yourself. Mm-hmm. And while we was talking, I was curious about other countries and their suicide rates compared to America. Just assuming that ours is probably high.
Self-deletion.
Yeah. Oh.
I hate to laugh at that, but it's like this is crazy what the world is today. We can't even call shit what it is. Like it's nuts.
We gotta play the YouTube game.
Yeah, but so we're 31 in countries in the world, but the top 30 are mostly third world African countries, and a lot of
when it comes to self-deletion.
Yes, and Asian countries, and then there's Russia and Ukraine up there, and then we're 31. So I'm looking at the trauma a lot of them places are dealing with, and it's directly affected your livelihood, your lifestyle, your will to live in that regard. And then back to us now versus Reconstruction era or back then, I felt like we had more of a drive to live. Like those men were built different. They had something to strive for. You know, you people were slaves for so long, you finally got freedom. You know, you're not just gonna take your life because life is tough. Because for them, life has been tough. Like that was their normal. You know, so you know they're having something to fight for, their families, to build something on their own. So you don't have the privilege of taking yourself out because like that's just looked down upon. You were more religious back then, so you know how that's looked at in Christianity, or even in Islam, but we're mostly Christian here. So that's a big no-no in the Bible, taking yourself out. So we just wasn't doing that. I feel like now it's almost, it's weird to say, but has become somewhat of a privilege to take yourself up out of here, you know, especially in the quote unquote land of opportunity when you have everything at your fingertips, but you still can't make a way. You know, it feels like you're worthless, but I do believe that it's definitely attached to mental disorders.
Hey, before you kind of keep going, you said that a privilege. Unpack that a little more.
You gotta have, I feel like, a lot of free time to think.
Okay.
You know, about why you shouldn't be here. If you're constantly working, if you're constantly striving, you don't really have that time to really kind of sit and be like, you know what, my life is not worth it, because you're doing too much to make it worth it. You know, so
you don't think successful people do self-deletion?
I do, but I feel like the rates are way lower than the unsuccessful, than the poor. You know, like they definitely they definitely do all that. We can look up the stats, but I would bet.
I honestly don't know.
I would bet that the rich are the successful. I won't say rich. Do it way less than the poor, but I don't know. We can look that stat up. I'm curious to know who's out here taking.
I feel like the more successful you are,
you hear about the more successful people more because they're more.
But like we wouldn't include like overdoses as self-deletion, right? Like that doesn't count, right?
I mean, it is a way of killing.
It is. That's what it is.
That's accidental, though.
See, this is what I'm saying. So it depends on how you look at it, right? Because like if you're because like you tend to see, you know, like when you don't have it. I don't know, like honestly, like when you don't have it versus when you do, who's more stressed? Like day to day, the pressure they feel. Like in my opinion, these folks, like I said, when you aren't feel entitled to something the way that especially a white man might feel, like and I mean, let's just be real. You a white man in America and you look to your side and a nigga has passed you, you hot. You like, hold up. What happened to my head start? You like, hold up. How did this nigga catch me? Like, let's just be real about it. Yeah, it's like, hold up, man, hold up. This nigga's where I'm at? Like, I'm getting nervous now. Like, well, how is this nigga here now? Like, let's just be real about that. Like, yeah, like we a threat, my nigga. Like, and that threat brings a certain level of insecurity and self-doubt that you wasted your whiteness in America. And that is like imagine how that might make a white man feel that he wasted his whiteness. Like, I mean, like I say that I'm not trying to joke on the topic, but it's like for real, like try to empathize with the white man just one time. Like
make you want to air something out.
Yo, like how would that, like if you knew what it was like to understand that privilege as a standard and then feel like that's being threatened, how are you feeling?
Bro, they used to
I did look
take it all the time.
It says that relatively poverty is associated with an increased risk of unaliving yourself.
Yeah,
so,
they say bullying too. I hear that a lot.
Well, yeah, I can imagine that for sure.
But that what you were talking about, G, is why they would go up and descend on like Tulsas and Rosewoods when they saw folks doing good. They're like, oh.
Facts.
So we see it all the same. But I still think the folks that back at that time were a little stronger. That's why it's hard for me to think that we need to take more time to talk about our feelings than they did during the time where they were dealing with way worse. And then what they did is what gave us the ability to have the time to sit down and talk about our feelings. So I think they didn't do that for us to sit down and talk about our feelings. They did that for us to build on what they put forward and keep moving forward, not to like wallow in our captivity.
Gotcha. But I guess like if still we're looking at it and still seeing that even between the dominant society, quote unquote, and the, you know what I mean, the oppressed, the rates are higher. Do you think that focusing or you know what I mean, making sure your mental health is straight could actually make you more productive inside that fight? To why
didn't Huey Newton need that? Why didn't Huey Newton need that? Why didn't Huey Newton and
how did Huey Newton
Fred Hampton
and I'm just asking, how did Huey Newton kind of end at, well, how like if you, all right, so we glorify and we understand Huey Newton inside a very specific space, right? And I love Huey Newton. Huey Newton also did battle with substance abuse too, right? Is that not true?
That's not true.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No, they said that when he was killed by a Fed, and they said that it was a drug deal or something like that, but that wasn't proven. That's just what they said to smear his name. Same way they did Martin Luther King, where they said that he was doing all this other stuff with other women and stuff like that, but if they had any evidence of that, they would have been shown it. So I think we have to be careful with believing like narratives and stuff like that. I don't think.
So you think Martin Luther King was faithful, huh?
Yeah, I think if it was evidence that he wasn't faithful, do you think they wouldn't have showed that?
I think they have like the audio recordings and all that, don't they?
You think
have you heard it with your own ears?
You that nigga Martin Luther King.
Listen, to be honest.
How many sweet potato pies was made for that nigga? Like in every city he went to. Yo, come on, bro.
Nigga stay with the yams.
How many baskets of fried chicken was delivered to this nigga with like cornbread and everything? Man. Like,
I know you're joking, but that's mad disrespectful, bro. He did so much for us. He's a legend. I have so much respect for him. It's not funny, bro.
No,
like
let's be clear. Like Eric Michael Dyson wrote a whole book on this too. So like you know, if we want to just like the academic has written on this, so it's not like
I support multiple women.
But I mean, even supported or not, if there's no evidence that he did that you actually heard with your own ears, and you're just repeating gossip about a man that's done so much for us, then I don't know, man. I think we got to do better as Black people. Respect.
That logic, everything gossip.
Yeah, but exactly.
But if you don't have evidence that you've heard with your own ears,
like I said, a university professor has written a book on it, but you just disqualify that research as being a coon.
Did anybody step forward and say that I was in any of those audio things with Martin Luther King? Or I thought that I would think that there was evidence, and somebody would come forward, especially in this day and age,
and say that.
I think someone would be like, I was with Martin Luther King. My mom was with Martin Luther King. This is the letter Martin Luther King wrote me. This is the video. This is the picture.
I wonder how old
they have cell phone. They have iPhones back then.
I'm googling evidence for Martin Luther King, and if I can't find any evidence, y'all should be ashamed of y'allself. Straight up.
I'm telling you, it's a book. I'm telling you, a whole nigga wrote a book that was written on it. So it's like I don't know what else to say to that. Like I tell you, Eric Michael and this is like an old book too. This is like 20 years old book. Like I'm not making this up off of speculation. Like it's from a respected educator that I mean, you might not respect him, but like he is a respectable educator.
You also respect Van Jones, to be fair.
No, I think Van Jones' career is respect. Like I said, like respecting some. Like it's like Kamala, for example. You can say what you want about her personally, but professionally, you're a hater if you speak on her credentials, like what she's actually achieved on paper. Professionally, it's hard to kind of argue against. What you think about that personally is something different. Like these are different conversations. People like Napoleon, this nigga professionally is unquestionable, but what you think about him personally is a lot of questions and things to be questioned. But That's just how it goes.
And I guess just to circle back, I looked up real quick. So before I even like say this, what are credible sources when it comes down to anything about anybody black? Or if like any like what can we rely on inside like your purview to
Evidence.
like so right now I'm looking at things. I know you said the word Google, and me Googling it, it looks like this is fairly well written from a credible source, but he did
it could be hearsay.
Gotcha. But it says that pretty much Huey P. Newton's downfall did deal with solitary confinement, cocaine, throughout towards the end of the 1970s, XYZ. But if I wanted to circle that back into the statement that you use, and you asked me the question of, like substance abuse goes hand in hand with dealing with mental affliction, to my understanding. Especially when you start diving into it inside like a heavier dosage, and especially when you're using it to release yourself. This is almost one of the like common tropes that you hear black people talk about when it comes down to smoking weed and shit like that, right? Whether true or false. But yeah, I guess I did want to kind of come back and make sure I answered the question and statement that you said.
I'm still looking for like hard evidence, because telling me what the FBI said about our heroes when the FBI was responsible for assassinating them and smearing their names.
Trey
undermines the credibility.
So Michael Eric Dyson wrote a book in 2021. So it's not even like it's an old book. I May Not Get There With You, The True Martin Luther King Jr. And I just say like take a look at it. I'm not even like a avid reader like that, but I'm telling you, I did take a look at this book. I did read, and like I said, whether you like him or not, professionally speaking, he's a well-respected educator and an Ivy League professor. So it's like, look, I
respected by who, bro? If you're respected by, a lot of people will respect you if you smear a black leader. I don't mean I respect you or believe what you say, especially if your evidence comes from the FBI, you are the COINTELPRO, right? So COINTELPRO is a whole organization set to smear our leaders. And for us to be repeating stuff that they say without knowing the specific facts, because if you look at other groups of people, they won't let you talk down about their leaders. Gandhi was racist as you could be, but Indian people, they're not going to be like, oh, he was a racist. Or if you talk about the things that they even have statues of Andrew Jackson, genocidal maniacs, they'll put up there, and then they're not going to talk bad about them. But when it comes to black people, we're very quick. Man, they still have statues of them, and they still name things about them. But if you let black people do it, we'll talk the good, the bad, and the ugly about people that lay their life down on our behalf. And I don't know, man. It's just
kind
of sick, bro.
So do you think that
Coretta did say that she felt in her gut that he didn't cheat? But
I believe Coretta over Dyson or whatever that fool's name is.
Gotcha. So
he's a Democratic shill.
I guess if we're to keep it to the conversation, do you, and trying to understand where you're at and what you're saying, to me, saying that, Huey P. Newton probably dealt with some level of like mental health, given like the scenario that he was in, maybe depression, XYZ, and it could have led to these different things, different afflictions, is a way of humanizing him in comparison to if we just say he was the perfect revolutionary leader through all things, and he was able to get it done, in which it almost makes it to what we had a Michael Jordan conversation earlier, to what a lot of people's critique of how they say like the Michael Jordan bias is, where he was perfect. And then, you know what I mean? Like if you listen to the legend, he didn't miss no shots. So it makes it feel almost
didn't lose no series.
Right. But that ends up being the critique to it, to where it feels like it's unreachable. Not that we don't want to dive back into it, but just using that example, if you actually humanize the revolutionary, do you not think that there's actual power in that? And the fact that, damn, even when I feel like I'm not at my personal quote unquote best, I can still make an impact. In comparison to like these niggas that got beat on, whole shot, XYZ, and somehow they made it through with like the most stoic like perseverance ever. inside like this hero mindset? What's your thoughts?
I think without more evidence, I have way too much respect for Huey Newton to, give any steam to any rumors of his alleged drug use.
Gotcha.
We need something to strive to. Like, it gotta be somebody who didn't falter, who didn't waver, who didn't cheat, who didn't do drugs, because I don't think it's cool to humanize everybody, because then it's like,
this is interesting.
Okay. When you at your lowest, or when you are not doing your best, you can say, "Oh well, Huey did crack too." Oh,
like, come on, bro, you all crazy that sounds.
You gotta have one of some heroes that just didn't break. Like,
is there one that y'all can think of?
I'm saying we need more than one. But I'm saying it has to be something that didn't bend, that didn't break, that didn't falter, that you can strive to, that was so committed to their mission that it's not no dirt on them. Because I feel like we almost want to normalize that everybody got something to them. But
so do you think that there are some right now, again, like, it's bad because we're placing it at black, but matter of fact, let's just open it all the way up. Are there any heroes that never needs to be humanized? Or how about this? Better yet, are there any heroes that live up to those standards that you're talking about?
I mean, my hero Malcolm X, I feel like he already was humanized from his beginning.
Like
he rose above that. He became a martyr. He became something bigger than himself. But he had already went through those things to when he got in that position. He didn't have to cheat. He didn't have to do all of these things because he'd already been that and kind of rose above it. And that discipline, that he displayed is one of the things that people look up to about him the most. If you read his biography and the autobiography of Malcolm X, is a life-changing book. You learn about that discipline, that focus, and it's like, damn, like, this is possible, because you have to see that it's been done before to do it. Otherwise, you think like, well, no, but that's impossible. There's no way I can be faithful. There's no way I cannot eat pork. There's no way I can read 30 books a month. Like, nah, this nigga was doing it. So we gotta have inspiration. We gotta have people that like sacrifice vanity, that sacrifice fun, and sacrifice to be something greater, so people can have something to strive to. Even if you never attain it, you got to have something that, like, I'm trying to be like that. I might not be as good, as focused, as disciplined, but somebody did it, so I know it can be done.
I mean, what's his name? Fred Hampton, John Horse.
Really though.
But I mean, come on, let's not put it actual. He died. Like, we can't have any dirt on his name. I'm trying to think of people that, like, can y'all think of any black people that y'all can look up to without, like, having any dirt on their name? I bet you could think of a black woman. G.
Nah.
Is
that a black off camera saying Tariq Nasheed?
Man,
but I don't think. I think everybody's got dirt to their name. Like, everybody.
That's also my personal opinion.
But I don't think the other side
or make heroes of too many.
Like, yeah, I think everybody's done their dirt.
Like, I appreciate their contributions though.
Yeah, it's like nobody, like, even no matter how you look at it, nobody's gonna not have their flaws. Like, everybody's gonna do something human that's not perfect. And if a nigga MLK was out here sliding in some other shit, like, that's on, like, it's not the first or last time that's gonna happen with a nigga in power. Like, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just,
I ain't mad at it.
Almost par for the course.
But this is what you do in the chat. They're over here comparing MLK to Kamala, because you're talking about what MLK did. So they're like, well, Kamala did her dirt too. So how are you going to talk bad about MLK? And then, how are you going to stand up for MLK, but you're going to talk bad about Kamala? Like, we have to have our people that we respect and defend, just like they defended us and died for us. You know what I mean?
Hey, Johnny, hop in here. You quiet over here in the corner.
Oh, no, you let them finish that one, but I mean, I think it's interesting where we at because, like, I think the because I don't know where they went with the whole MLK thing. I was gonna let them boys have that one, but when we're talking about like mental health and like the rates are higher, I think like when you open up that door to like let yourself, expound on that weakness, sometimes that weakness ends up going too far. And that's why I said in the beginning, I don't think that mental health conversation is for everybody. I think, like you said, if you're at your very lowest and you need something to keep on going, I think that's when you have to have that conversation. That's when you break down. And you only break down to inspire yourself to keep moving. You don't break down to stay at that spot. And I think where this conversation gets lost is like our dads, they didn't have the opportunity to break down and they ended up projecting. And I think we have that opportunity to break down, but you see it ends up in not only us, we still project. There's still men out there that project. There's men out there that have, higher rates of self-deletion. And I think when we use that mental health conversation as a crutch, you see what, you see what we get. And yeah, that's what I was at. When it comes to MLK, I think, humanizing our heroes, it does, allow you to be inspired more because like the only hero, I mean, and this is just from a Christian perspective, we ain't none of us perfect except for Jesus. So I mean, the MLKs, the Malcolm X's, whoever, Huey P, they all of us have flaws. And I think recognizing that can help inspire us. But if you just recognize that to allow yourself to, not move, that's when you gotta look at it.
Was Jesus perfect though?
Gotcha.
You said what?
Was Jesus really perfect? There's a whole gap.
Well, let's not do that.
You said
it's a whole gap of his life missing in the Bible. What was he doing though this time?
Okay, well then none of us are perfect. Then even better. Like I mean,
he was a child. He was a kid, bro.
Are you talking about like
LeBron and Jesus? Don't fuck with A Black. Hey, look, hey, if it's LeBron or Jesus, no respect. Like
we don't got no proof on Martin cheating. We don't got no proof on Jesus existing.
I think the standard of evidence is a little questionable. Like what you accept as evidence versus when there's evidence to there, but you don't want, but you're like, I need more evidence. But for other things, you don't need a lot of evidence.
But your evidence is a Democratic shill writing a book on gossip he heard. That's not evidence to me.
Look, in 2001, like this ain't like an Amazon self-published book, by the way. Like it's not like he just like wrote it and published it himself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's 2001. I'm just saying he's a scholar.
If it's about gossip, though.
But you understand he's a scholar, right?
I think that's the word to be used loosely.
No, this nigga's a PhD, my nigga. Like he's a doctor. Like I'm not using it loosely. I
think that that's Dr. Dre.
I'm not using it loosely. Like you may not like a nigga's opinions, but the nigga is a PhD scholar. Like I don't know, like what we.
Why would you even write a book about MLK in a negative way? Like that already makes me question him. Like, what's the point?
I used to like
tell the truth
until he started talking about Kanye. Then I was like, "Fucking."
I think his more recent rhetoric is more questionable. But like I said, this is 2001.
Oh, that's questionable, but not what he said about Martin Luther King.
Did you read the book? Did you even take a look at what he said? You didn't. And also this is 2001. This is pre-social media, pre-hyperbole. Like this is a different era. This is 2001.
So I believe Coretta more. My bad.
I used to like Michael Eric Dyson until I learned big words. And then I was like, he ain't saying shit.
You like a Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah,
Thank you, bro. Like, come on, bro.
Shit. Hey, I know you hate
it. This was before his like this is 2001. This is not like you do know how like bro, we like 2001. That's a long time ago.
But I will also say, because I've read a Michael Eric Dyson book before, like him in writing is different than like when he gets on these panels and
exactly
he just word salads the shit out of things. I'm like, holy.
It's written scholarly, like you're reading like an academic article from a journal or something. It's like written with that in mind, like trying to approach it from a standpoint of quote unquote science, being thorough, citing your sources, whether you agree with the sources or not. Like at least they're cited. You can go look them up, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's there. It's there is what I'm saying.
I got you. We can agree or disagree because I can't entertain a hit piece on Martin Luther King, bro, by a Democratic shill. Like, come on. That's off code as hell.
Do you think he was that in 2001? This is my point.
Yeah,
no, he was not.
Black people been on the Democrat plantation, especially in 2001.
No, him particularly. He was not a brand name like that for the Democratic Party in 2001. Like he didn't have that much cachet like that.
All them
like
old
what he
Negroes,
is today.
Hey,
all
fellas,
them old Negroes are Democratic.
Hey, fellas, I feel like I'm learning that our conversation is gonna find their way back to politics, no matter what it seems like. But if I'm try and steer us back to where we were at, and we were even kind of like speaking of the idea of like we'll just place it at heroes, needing to look up to heroes. This kind of segues to it a little bit loosely. So I ask y'all this: is there any downside to stoicism? I understand that like that ends up being like an achievable, like a thing that we're all pushing to achieve, and as men to be stoic in nature. Is there any downside to stoicism?
No.
Might not get invited to Pride. I don't know.
Facts.
You said might not get invited to Pride.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I really can't think of no examples of it going wrong for anybody.
Okay, so I guess I'll use, and let me see if I can look. I can easily rope in like an example, but so a bit of the understanding of stoicism is repression, and how repression ends up coming out ends up being more times than not huge eruptions. But in the idea of repressing your feelings, that to an extent, if we humanize just men in general, whether it's the good, the bad, happy, sad, like the worst thing happened or the best thing happened, remaining even keeled and stoic through all of those things ends up becoming a space where you're repressing a lot of just your feelings, in which if you've also been around a lot of, I guess to me, when I've been around like people, quote unquote, that are within those stoic mantras, a lot of times you do see, if you're around them long enough, where these like explosions might happen because of these feelings have been repressed for an extended period of time. So I can speak to like friend examples if you want me to give those, where there's people that attempt to remain stoic, but again they have those exact same ailments more times than not. When it comes down to like remaining stoic over extended periods of time.
I think like maybe those people haven't really mastered true stoicism yet. Like I don't think true stoicism you're repressing your emotions. I think you are maybe finding new ways to process them and see them differently. So you're not having emotional outbursts. Like you process things differently. You look at things differently. So it's not like I'm holding stuff in because I'm trying to be stoic. It's like this doesn't affect me the same anymore. So something to repress, it's more so getting digested than repressed. You know what I'm saying? It's like I
do want to, as we continue on it, I'm gonna read out the definition of stoicism. Okay. The endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not displaying it because I'm processing it differently. I'm not really repressing it or holding it in so I can explode later, which is a possibility if I didn't genuinely process it properly. But if I'm looking at life differently, if I'm looking at how I respond to things differently and how it affects my surroundings, then I'm not suppressing. I'm just digesting. I'm taking stuff in, and I'm not angry. Genuinely, I'm not mad. I'm not holding it in. I'm gonna pop off on my kids later or my wife later because I've been holding the shit in, trying to be like, some YouTube stoic dude. But I really have just matured in how I perceive things. I think.
Do you think that stoicism is an achievable goal for for people, for humans, for men?
I think it got to be for men. You know, a reactionary man can't be revolutionary. You know, you got to be able to manage emotions so you can like focus on growth and focus on building. Like if you're always in a constant emotional turmoil and state, like you're going to be stagnant, you're going to be exploding, you're going to be getting in trouble or worried about police immunity because you're popping off on the cops and stuff. Like you're not going to be able to manage yourself properly. But I feel like when you are more logical, be able to be less reactive. Like, of course, there are situations where you got to react if you're in a have to defend or protect or something. But real talk, we not always in those situations. Like you can just see driving the road rage people have every day. It's like, oh, why are you so mad? Like, chill out. It's not that serious. We're driving a 2,000-ton metal or 2,000-pound metal speeding bullet right now, and you're angry because you got cut off. Like, so it's just like learning to manage your emotions and stuff so that you can display them properly or not display them at all, because you don't perceive stuff the same as you used to.
Gotcha. Again, I'll alley to G. What is your thought?
No, I agree. I think it is like I think stoicism in itself is a positive. It demonstrates emotional maturity. Where I think it gets a little murky, where it's like that's not healthy, is when you start like tearing people down for showing emotions, right? So like as a man, if you show a sense of being hurt or something, they'd be like, stop crying, stop doing this, stop doing that. Like, I don't think that sort of approach is healthy to like try to bully someone into being stoic, to present as stoic when internally they're not like what they represent, right? Like, I don't know about y'all, but as a young black boy, I was told many a times, like you a mama's boy, for example, or if you fall and you hurt yourself, like, oh, don't worry about it, just wipe it off and keep it moving, so to speak, right? That to me is not healthy, in my opinion, because it dismisses how the individual feels. With that said, I mean, you could laugh at. I
was laughing at the chat, Terry G.
I mean, look, Tara G's not even brave enough to get on the call, even though she joined every week. She won't even join the call-in link. I would love for Tara G to actually get up here and have a conversation with us versus just stay in the comments. Like, she's here all the time. She should join and contribute.
Probably not a real girl.
She might not. I mean, we'll never know. But
listen, Tara G, he's a loyal. We appreciate Tara G.
Don't tell the boys in the chat that.
Whether you hop in or hop out,
it's a little too real.
Keep going. Land your plane.
So it's like, look, at the end of the day, if you want to just tell people not to feel a certain way and stop doing something, I don't think that's a healthy form of communication. But learning how to control your emotions is something completely different. So, like I said, it's about trying to help people get the tools to do that effectively versus just try and tell them, don't be sad, don't be this, don't be that. You got to help people work through things or give people the tools to work through things.
And so to make sure, do you think that there is any downside to being stoic?
No downside to being stoic.
Okay. Johnny.
No, I mean, I think if you're not mentally ready to try to be stoic, I don't think you should. But I think, I don't think there's nothing wrong with being stoic. I also think there's nothing wrong with showing your emotions. Also, I think there has to be a healthy balance. I think for most people, stoicism is probably the most healthy way to go about the world that we live in all actuality, because nobody's gonna really, as a man, nobody gives a. So like you can that's just how I look at it, and that's why I try to practice stoicism. I think that's why most people should, but I also know there's a little bit of like unhealthiness in the fact that I just said nobody gives a fuck, because there are a lot of people that do. But it's almost like you have to operate like they don't in order to get what you need to out of this work. And so, I'm a believer in stoicism, but it might not be for everybody.
Okay, Trey.
I think stoicism is the best approach when you're making, like, when you're the decision maker at the top. Like, if you're a general, you want to be stoic. You don't want to be in there, making decisions emotionally. You want to, stick with logic and reason. But like, when I think emotion in a positive way, I think about, like the captain on the football team getting everybody hyped up for the game. Like, sometimes you need that. I think about and Lean on Me, where he was like, "You want to smoke crack, do you? Do it expeditiously." Like, that wasn't exactly stoic, but it put some fire in him. So I think as a leader, maybe there is a place for you to put some passion and to fire up some people up. But when you're making your decision, again, like, you don't want to make any critical decisions out of emotions, like, ever. And also, as Black people, when you're behind enemy lines, like, that's why you never see, like, the NOI getting hemmed up by the police, because they're not over there. Like, they know how to operate when they're in a position like that. Because you mess around, you'll get yourself off. So there's the balance. You have to understand the time and the place.
Gotcha. I said out, Trey. I thought you was just going like that. That was a fair take. So let me ask y'all this. So if we stick on stoicism, do you think that is something to strive to achieve, or it's realistic inside, like, nature, like the nature of men? Do y'all know a bunch of stoic men?
In real life, probably only my dad, but I know he's emotional with my mom on the low, but what he presents is stoicism. But it's like anything. It falls under emotional health. We got spiritual health, physical health, emotional health, and you got to practice it. Like you have to do with physical health. You got to go to the gym, train consistently. The stoicism, you have to train your emotions, train your heart, and you have to practice this thing. And when you have those moments, when you're challenged, they got to be teachable moments for you to, like, practice this thing. It doesn't happen overnight. Like, I think we want it, we strive for it, and it is attainable, but it has to be practiced. So, like, in our age group, and I don't know too many, I would like to think that I've grown a lot into it myself, but you know, I can get in my emotions, especially when it comes to women sometimes, not like anger or anything negative, but just personally. So it's something that gotta be practiced, just like any other healthy parts that things that we do, But I only can think of my dad as far as, like, real life stoic men. Maybe a couple of men at my workplace that I look up to. They're usually like coaches and leaders and stuff.
But also, would these be people that you don't have, like, a as close of a relationship to actually, like, know them outside of, like, work or, like, a very specific environment?
And that too. That's why it's like only my dad I really can speak to, because I seen, like, him test it. I see, like, different situations that I think other men, they might react emotionally. But yeah, we don't really see a lot of the other sides of people all the time to kind of really get a good assessment. I think, who are you outside of this space?
Gotcha. G.
And the question was, is it realistic?
Yeah, like, so the idea of, like, juxtaposing, is this something to achieve, or do you think that that's something actually realistic? And then I landed it with, do you know a bunch of men that are stoic? Because that will kind of, like, lend to, like, the answer that you give.
Like, I know a bunch of stoic men, like, especially on my mom's side, all my uncles. Like I said, like, but stoic. So to be stoic and have that control, that presence in tough situations, be able to communicate clearly, even when times are tough, like not let things get to you visibly. But I think like the point everybody's saying is like stoicism doesn't mean you're numb to feelings and emotions. Like you're gonna vent to somebody somewhere. Like you don't just keep all this stuff pent up. Like you typically have a release valve somewhere to manage what you go through. So yeah, I think it's realistic, but I don't think it's likely that most people will have the tools to get there.
So, okay. I guess I'm so realistic, likely.
It can happen,
and it's right. But I guess like because like saying the idea of like something that's achievable. That's the I guess
is achievable.
It okay. I got you.
It's almost like being a professional athlete. Almost, it's like you can achieve it, but the reality is most people won't. Like only.
Right. So being I guess to me, then being a like realistically is not likely. So I put realistic and likely inside the same boat, and then achievable. But like that's what I said. Like I understood what you were saying, so it didn't matter to get into the idea of like a semantic game because I understand your overall message. Johnny.
I think, damn, my light just went out. But I know a lot of people that presented stoic to the outside world, and I think that's. I think you're in those moments when you could be emotional. I think that's when that practice of stoicism is supposed to come out. That's what all the work is about. When you're in that heated moment, when you're in the moment where it's pressure, it could be life or death. It could be, the adrenaline's going. That's when you need stoicism. A lot of those stoic men with the relationships that I have with people and what I've seen somebody you would say is dead ass stoic cry over stuff. I've seen it out. I think that's the natural part of the human experience too. I think they don't have to be mutually exclusive. I think you can be a stoic to the outside world, but there are still moments like if you're a stoic, that means when you're a baby, if you have a baby, you're not allowed to cry, or if that's not healthy. So I think there are times when when stoics are allowed to express those emotions and get them out. And I think you have to get back to it. And, especially in those pressure moments when you go into work, especially as a black man, stoicism is probably one of the best options to take rather than being super emotional. And so I think you don't have to identify with stoicism as a personality trait. It could just be a tool that you use in certain moments. And I think that's kind of the best way to look at it is there are moments where I need to be stoic, but there's also moments where I need to be emotional just for my mental health. And I think both of those could be masculine in the same.
Gotcha.
Do you think it?
And oh, go ahead. I guess I do. I do agree a bit with Johnny. If I was to give like some personal opinion to the conversation, in which I think in general within my friend group, probably inside most friend groups that I'm in, I'm almost looked at as more or less like a very stoic figure, a very even kill, no matter what the scenario is. Like it's been so many times big life events have happened, and niggas be like, "Damn, you ain't let me know," just because I'm like that's just kind of the nature who I am. But in that same sense, there is a piece of it that tends to feel almost as a burden just because of like I'll give an example, like a very easy example where like me and my demeanor comes from my dad, right? And he's very much the same exact thing. But going to what G said earlier, that means I also came from a family that like niggas ain't saying I love you like that. They ain't like I didn't come from a space where like men express emotion. So like the idea of like even me and my father having like those conversations, even though I grew up inside like a 2-family household and all that shit, that was its own like thing where like you start seeing tears running shit like that because it's such a repressed feeling of like either you want the acceptance or repressed in his end of like you wanting to say it, but this thing of being like this specific version of a man doesn't allow you to be. But that's quick opinion.
I think there's definitely somewhat of a spectrum, but where it comes to stoicism, because on the far end you have people like those Democratic shills that I sent that meme of earlier, where everybody was crying all the time. They're as far from stoic, and I think it's hard for people to respect the man who is on the full opposite end of stoicism. Like it don't take anything to make them spin out. Those people kind of welcome like trolling, they welcome bullying, because that just means people can get a rise out of you, and you can't really move through life with people thinking that they can get a rise out of you. And
Trey, can I ask you something?
For sure.
What about people that are really like hot tempered? Would that also be non-stoic? Not
well,
the Democratic, but like somebody that's like super like, nigga, I'll whoop your head like as soon as that, because that reminds me of like the same thing. Yeah, but it's not on that Democratic
That's not stoic
shield.
at all. That's not stoic at all.
I can see that, because it seems like when I heard Biden speak, sometimes he'll be like, "You got to work with the Hispanic people." And we was talking to the class of the Congressional Black Caucus.
I'm saying, but like even Trump, Trump wouldn't be a stoic, would he?
I don't see him yelling. I just see him making like clowning.
But he makes emotional responses. He's not stoic.
Oh, he's not stoic.
What about
he responds based off of emotional, like even on the stage today, like when he was talking to the people, he could have just like kept going, but he made sure like he's got too much pride to be stoic, in my opinion. Like Trump's ego and pride will take over in an instance. That's not an example of being stoic to me.
So you can't be stoic and have a lot of. You can't have an ego and be stoic, or have a lot of pride and be stoic.
How can you let your ego take over? Once you let your ego take over, then you're no longer stoic.
When I think stoic, I think about you let people get you flustered. And if you like quick with the snapbacks, then without getting upset, and when they make it, what I did see him was flustered was in that press conference when Obama was on stage roasting him, and he was in the crowd turning red.
Well, that's what started all of this. That's what started all of this.
He had his microphone and he had to talk back.
Obama started all of this.
Well, they would call him sassy these days. They would say he's sassy.
The chat say Trump stoic. I don't know.
I mean, I think I don't think you have to like not Trump's respond
like
to people.
Most emotional men.
He's super petty.
Most emotional.
He's super petty. He's like he does things that are just like not strategic. It's not thought out. It's clearly just an emotional response to something he heard. That's not stoicism.
I think you're conflating petty with emotional.
Have you seen his Twitter? Like,
bro, that's what stoicism has to deal with. Controlling emotions. No,
I'm saying petty. Is petty an emotion?
I think to be petty, they're stooping down to a lower emotion.
Pettiness comes from an emotional place.
Yeah, right. Like there's something prideful, ego. Like you just can't let stuff roll off.
Imagine Malcolm X being petty.
Come on.
It just seems weird.
Like petty comes from women. That's a naturally feminine trait, though, isn't it? Pettiness.
I don't know. It wasn't petty when after JFK got assassinated, he was like, "The chickens coming home to roost." I mean, am I supposed to feel bad when the chickens come home to roost? Like everybody all emotional and sad, and that's what you're gonna say, and that's what got him kicked out the NOI because they're like, "Man, you making the spot hot."
The Joker is petty. Batman would be stoic.
But, yeah. I don't know. I think I disagree that Trump is. I wouldn't call him like an emotional. He's definitely not an emotional wreck.
You think he's a critical thinker? You think he's like stoic, does everything like
super emotional, but he's not stoic.
He might be like the most emotional politician.
I think Obama was stoic, if I'm going to be honest. Like Obama, like you couldn't really catch him up or down. He didn't react based off of what you set up. He kept a certain level of talk, speech, rhetoric. You wouldn't get him outside of his behavior. He kept it how he wanted it. He was in control. Yeah. Trump, you question if he has control often. Like
I can agree with the Obama thing, but I think you can be calculated in your in taking your revenge, and that may take a level of stoicism. And I think Trump's more of that. He might be petty, but he's also calculated. He's very calculated.
But he's not stoic.
Calculated, petty, not stoic. I agree.
Obama couldn't become the angry black man, so he had to be stoic.
That's my point.
Obama should make a comeback. Like him and Michelle should make a comeback.
I mean, that Michelle should have ran, but she don't want nothing to do with it. That would have been the same as Brock.
Brock he low key could get another 8 out. Because if Michelle ran, she got a chance.
That's it.
No, Michelle would be a favorite. Michelle would be a favorite over Kamala, no question.
I guarantee you, Michelle wouldn't have Megan on the stage twerking.
Nah.
I can't guarantee that.
Nah,
she had Beyonce singing gospel.
I guarantee.
Obama had Rhapsody in the White House. I'm just saying.
But Rhapsody.
So y'all are Obama fans?
Rhapsody and whatchamacallit.
Nah,
no,
I'm not.
We just know.
You're about to say, I don't think you.
These are jokes.
Oh,
all right. So now let me ask the other side of the coin.
But you feel comfortable arguing for Trump's being stoic, but not Obama. You feel more comfortable.
No. I agree that Obama is very stoic, but I just don't agree that Trump is as much of like as emotional as you make him seem. I think like if
emotional, bro.
Do you think if I have a
so who would you say is a more emotional male politician than Trump?
Speaking of mental health, like that nigga Trump has mental health problems.
Who's more emotional? I was Biden. Bush was pretty stoic. Clinton, I guess he was pretty stoic. Who's more emotional than Trump? I mean, it seemed like most of the presidents have been pretty stoic. Honestly,
it was par for the course.
Yeah.
Trump reacts I think like he's he's an outsider. He kind of has a different feel. I think that's why, like the redneck the brother poor whites, they connect with him because he gives because Trump doesn't actually relate to them. He just connects with them with his rhetoric. But I think it's because he actually gives off some feeling to it.
So I can't respond to your joke with a witty comeback. And if you say something about me, I can't respond to you with a witty joke and that makes me I'm not stoic at that point. If I respond to your criticism with a funny joke.
I think
Trump does that a lot. I don't know if that's emotional.
Honestly, Trey, if you're too funny and too witty, it's not stoicism because you goofy.
You're not presidential. It's like
eventually you can't always be witty. Sometimes you just have to be presidential. You have to take the high road. You have to just be stoic. You can't always go.
Trump has redefined what it means to be presidential. He really has.
I think he's more charismatic than a lot of.
Yeah, he's more charismatic than Obama.
I mean, like not more
I
than
might
Obama.
get that to him.
Trump has more charisma than Obama.
They love him. He's not our version of charismatic, but they love him.
I mean, Trump is witty. I'm not saying Trump is witty. He's witty. He's funny. He's entertaining.
He's smart, but he has charisma. Obama,
I think he's got to be smart, bro. Like he wouldn't be where he's at if he wasn't smart.
He always toes is right there. He's either a fucking genius or he's kind of dumb. It's like one of the two. But he makes the line is right there, and he's right there every single time.
Bro, he hijacked the Republican Party, bro. They don't want him there.
Like he does shit to where it's almost perfectly able to be taken out of context. But if you listen long enough to his actual speech, you can start piecing where he was going at with it.
If you could create how they say IQ and EQ, if you could create one for media, like a media Q, this nigga would be through the roof. He understands media more than most people. Like that's really his gift over other politicians. He understands media, he understands narrative, and he understands storylines. Like
he's a salesman.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he is over the other politicians.
Gotcha. All right, so fellas, let me ask y'all this question. The other side of the coin of what we just asked, is mental health awareness making men weaker?
Yes. Yes. We do a lot of talky, not a lot of doey.
This is where I have to agree. It is the movement. The movement is the movement ain't helping for sure.
Like there are people in third world countries who we're more emotional than people in third world countries, bro. It's like make it make sense.
Well, I think,
bro, when you in the third world and you born without electricity and running water, like you feel a little different.
Well, I don't know if
But
that
they're
lines
happy
up
with
what
some water.
Exactly.
He said
I mean,
that's
if you're
my point.
thirsty and somebody give you a glass of water, you're gonna be happy. Like, I mean, it's kind of
It's a great day.
Like, if you don't know nothing, you don't know what you don't have.
You praise
Versus
God, you got some
in
clean
America,
water.
we can see all these rich people, even though like we're the middle class, we see what we don't have more so than like I think a lot of people in the third world. If you've never known the finer things, you can't miss the finer things. But if you see,
but I don't know that doesn't line up to what A Black Stats was, where the higher ranking people when it comes to self-deletion are inside third world countries.
Yeah. The more impoverished you are, the more likely you are to.
But that's in America, not a global.
No,
I mean,
right?
That was a global stat.
What's the global stats?
I mean,
No,
don't
he
think,
said like a lot of them was like African countries and shit like that. But it was like the GDP, like that was a big marker to what he was saying.
But I don't think that speaks to them missing the finer life or them longing for like the life that we have. I think that comes from like it's so you're like there's some situations that are like really tough where there's like the bottom of the bottom, like and there's like no hope. I think there are situations where people have no hope, and like that's probably worse.
That's what we're saying. The more traumatic your situations, the more impoverished you are, the more likely you are to act on taking your life.
So are you so by definition then what you're saying is that there's more self-deletion in Mexico than in America?
I didn't see America's still up there high. We 31. I didn't see Mexico. Russia and Ukraine was like the only countries.
But we the richest country. But we 31. So you saying the poor countries. So what was number one? I'm just curious to hear. Like what were what countries had the worst rates of self-deletion? I'm curious to hear.
Okay. How did they do it? How did they
delete themselves? They don't have guns
like that.
If you want.
Because like that does like I would have never thought that say like Zimbabwe has more self-deletion than America, for example.
It's up there. It's higher. Zimbabwe is higher. I'll show you.
Yeah, I think that Tarji hit with probably one of the better points. Poverty and proximity to income equality probably does definitely do the thing. Or even access to like seeing income equality.
It's crazy. Even during bondage, we didn't delete ourselves like that. But I guess the life expectancy was so low, probably wouldn't have much of a chance to.
Yeah, I'm about to say even like the whites, they was living to like 40, 50.
Yeah,
that was it.
Which made
like you know the niggas who signed the Declaration of Independence was like 25 to 35. Like all those founding fathers were like.
That's how old they were.
Yeah, the youngest one was like 18 that signed it. Like real talk. Like these weren't even like old niggas, bro. They were in their 20s.
I didn't know that. Like Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, they were in their 20s to 30s. Most of the founding fathers who signed it at the time were in their 20s to 30s. And the youngest member, the youngest founding father was under 20 years old who signed that declaration.
But what was the life expectancy? What was the life expectancy back then?
Exactly. That's the point like he was making, saying they probably weren't living past 50. 40 to 50 was the max back then.
And that makes sense then. If we live in the 80, then 40 would be like 20 back then if they only live in the 40. So, I mean, I guess
I'm seeing like John Adams is like 40, and we see a bunch of 30s. Benjamin Franklin was 70. It was age of 1776 he was.
A lot of these countries I can't pronounce, but Zimbabwe is number 8. South Africa.
They look like
shout out to Kamu. But yeah, South Africa is number 8.
You said shout out to Kamu.
Like, why would you shout Kamu out now, bro?
You shot nigga on the self-deletion. That's wild. Oh man,
no, actually,
that's hilarious.
There is a amount of African countries in here,
and I will say like a lot of that is more normalized in some of those countries, just like in normal conversations, like they talk about doing like
how many of these are first world countries realistically? Like
not many. That's what we said.
Yeah, I think that was the point that we were saying.
South Korea.
It's the point that it's mostly third world countries are in impoverished areas, and then the other side is a cultural side. Like South Korea lived there for a year. Like they be doing that shit. Like they have a bad day at work. They out like dead ass. Like, but Asians culturally, you know, some do it. Life is hard, but it's also an honorable thing too. You know, in Japanese culture, you know, like you fail your family or you fail something, you fall on the sword, figuratively or literally. You know, that came from soldiers, you know, ending themselves, falling on the sword. But that's more of a cultural thing, is taking your own life, you know. But I've had conversations with people and they like talk about it casually, like, you know, we don't really joke about that here. You know, you're talking about with your boy, oh, I'm gonna do myself, like, you're like, what? But they'll like, so you don't text a girl over there for a day. She's like, I'll kill myself. What? I'm like, yo, chill out. It's not that serious. Like, but it's more ingrained in their culture than in ours.
And it's always men too. It's at least almost quadruple the rate of men versus women.
Yet we still are pretty high compared to the world, and to be the most economically powered country in the world. In the
I don't know, man. 33 is kind of, that's all right, really, honestly.
33.
Well, we're probably like one of the first, like really developed first world countries that's on there.
Yeah, like
well, I think we are the first.
Yeah, outside of Russia,
be honest, Russia. I'm looking underneath us. You got Zambia, like you got did I see? I think Ghana's lower. You
see Russia, Ukraine, South Korea.
Yeah, outside of that, the United States is the most developed country.
But the United States is the richest, but yet they ranking up there with the third world.
Yeah, I think Belgium and Finland and
Belgium was top 30.
No, I'm talking about like this lower than us.
Okay.
How would we say that? Like it's like 30. Finland's 39. Belgium's 36. Yeah, that's more so what I'm saying. I think that there is an interesting like space where I think where we're at is probably where it starts becoming more cultural than just like the literal poverty that you're living in, where you start seeing a sprinkle of more of the first world, second world countries, but the first 30 pretty much. Oh well, shit. Russia's up there at 12.
Russia's not considered like top notch.
Okay, that is true. And Russia's huge also.
Russia's still considered like BRICS developing.
Yeah. You're right.
How recent on these stats? Because I think Russia's had an uptick over the last
this is 2019.
Okay. But they've had
Russia's still considered
5 years. So within 5 years.
Russia and China aren't considered like top tier in the global scheme of things.
Gotcha.
When it comes to like quality of life.
Barbados at the bottom. They chilling on the beach, man.
Yo, what does it mean when it says 87.5?
Why would you kill yourself in Barbados? Like,
but as we continue the conversation, I'm not sure who's answered and who hasn't answered yet. But I'll restate the question: is mental health awareness making men weaker?
I think it is.
I think I answered it earlier. I said yes, but I'll go G.
I think it is in the sense that there's too much emphasis on it, and one thing begets another. Mm-hmm. So when you always talk about your problems, you will probably have those problems for a longer time period, right? Like, so I do think in this modern era of like they bastardized therapy and things of that nature. In my opinion, it's become commercialized in a way where you just get an app, go get your therapy. Like it's promoted in a way where it's like marketed where you just should purchase some therapy. When in reality,
I think Charlemagne got a lot to do.
Charlemagne is definitely a huge reason as to why.
Yeah,
and making it like that. But to me, when you therapy, everybody like everyone can technically benefit from therapy, but there is like even too much water can kill you. You feel what I'm saying? It's like just because it's good for you doesn't mean you need to like immerse yourself in it. And when you are always focused on your problems, then you almost like get locked into that versus becoming solution oriented, in my opinion. And so I just feel like that's the detriment here, is that I feel like we need these resources. People need tools to have mature emotional security, However, this current movement is not helping us because it's more so promoting this idea that you are helpless and need therapy, like by default, and like you won't be able to get by without it, so to speak. Like I think it's just become bastardized in modern time, and it's hurting us more than it's helping us.
Yo, can I throw in this quote real quick? They said like hard times make strong men make good times make weak men, and you get the weak men make hard times situation. And that's kind of where we're at now, where, you know, I think a lot of strong men make good times, and all these good times are making weak men. If we're not careful, you know, we're gonna make more hard times.
Can I hop in there and answer it? I think can you repeat the question one more time, Quint, so I can answer it specifically? You said this.
Is mental health awareness making men weaker?
Yes. I think when you're aware of mental health, I think it becomes like a cycle of like self-actualization, manifestation. I think if you focus on having, I think as a society, we focus on people like and put too much of an emphasis on mental health. I think we self-actualize that. I think we manifest that. It's about like they say, if you pray, don't worry. If you worry, don't pray. If we're gonna like sit up and I think when people focus on it, I think that leads to more people who are lost, just leaning on that as a crutch, like we said earlier, and not leaning into stoicism, not leaning into like, you know, self-healing, and not leaning into, you know, the internalization that, you know, and self-awareness that it takes to be stoic. People lean on the mental health, and that's when it becomes a crutch, because we are focused on it so much to where we pushed it, but like G was saying, we push it down people's throats to this point to where you're like, you're not feeling good today, get a therapist, and like, you know, let's talk about it. And it's like at that point, there are people that may not be mentally ill that are leaning into, you know, that mentally illness mindset and like self-actualization. So I think we need I think it's a balance. I think the scales have tipped too far one way, and I think just like anything, once it goes one way, we need to start preaching stoicism. We need to start preaching, you know, the toughness mindset, and whatever that looks like for everybody. But at this point, we do have to switch the narrative up a little bit because we see what's happening.
Hey, Black.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's one of many things that's making men weak or making men weaker. But I think really what we're facing is an identity crisis on what a man is and what a strong man is, because a strong man today is usually almost considered negative or toxic, or, you know, toxic masculinity and all these terms.
How would you define a strong man?
Somebody who does what they say, who stands on what they believe, who keeps their word. You know, it's real simple, and, you know, doesn't really waver on their beliefs. But mainly those three things: doing what you say you're gonna do, keeping your word, and standing strong and believing in something that's meaningful. You know, because you can stand up for some bullshit too, but something that is bigger than yourself, helps you, helps your family, helps your legacy, helps your community.
Gotcha. Do you see empathy and vulnerability as strengths of a strong man, or something that should be kind of ignored?
Nah, I think everything's they're tools, like a toolbox of emotions. Like, you know, Johnny was saying earlier, there's a time to be stoic, it's a time to be emotional, it's a time to be empathetic, it's a time to be ruthless. You know, I think a strong man and a strong leader assesses the right time to use these different tools. You know, like if you're out in the world, you're in the workplace or in corporate America, you might want to be stoic. You're at home with your new 2-year-old daughter or something, you know, you might want to be empathetic or more sensitive and stuff. But I think learning how to, you know, navigate the right time and place to use all of these tools is what makes you a well-rounded man. Like being just a one-sided figure, you know, that can be a weakness in itself. Like you got to know how to almost be a chameleon with your emotions, and you know when is it time to show different things? Because it's strength in all of these things. It's strength in being sensitive. It's strength in not having no feelings at all. But it's all about the right time to employ everything.
Trey, talk to us.
I was leaning on that quote before about I think just these good times have made it easy to be weak versus like we were talking about earlier, how when they're dealing with so much it's difficult. You can't survive if you're so involved with your feelings. And when you're in survival mode, the last thing you're going to talk about is how you feel. And then when you said like who's a strong man,
so hey, real quick, let me stop you there. And then I like to make you the answer.
Oh, he was about to make us go through the roof here. Like,
my bad. we about to get there. I got a question about Putin too for you, but but what I was about to say.
Thank you, Saber.
Yeah.
He saved you for real. Yo, Trey was about to go there with it, bro. He was about to go there with it too.
My bad.
You gotta let him go.
Oh man,
keep my publicist.
Yo, he saved you for real.
I lost my train of thought. I think you was talking about like struggling in mental fortitude, but it also sounds like, again, if we read those stats that we were just looking at, struggling doesn't necessarily produce strong men or mental fortitude.
It depends, man. You know how I feel about a lot of these countries that, okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're necessarily strong men because I think a lot of Americans, especially what we've endured over here, took strength. That's why we've able to build a place for people to come from those places with the high suicide rate to be able to, to come and thrive because of our toughness and strength against all of this over here. So, I think we're a unique breed where I don't think that we don't have a high suicide rate in the Black community. And all this stuff we're talking about, stop bullying, that doesn't really, I think Black people, we love playing the dozens. We're never going to stop bullying.
Nigga said playing the dozens.
So I don't know. That's why when we talk about all the feelings and everything, that's not us, man. As a Black community, we didn't get where we are by talking about these feelings. That's why whenever I'm kind of like rah with it when I hear, the family talking about focusing on our feelings. It's like, man, that's not that. Where's the inner Malcolm X? Where's the inner Huey Newton? That they didn't go through all of that in their situation for us to build this for us, just for us to slow down and be in any like woe is me. And then even we have it so bad now that the folks who have my mentality, who want to talk about what we're up against, they got weak dudes that'll say, "Oh, quit being a victim." Like, nah, I'm trying to prevent us from being a victim. You've been so accustomed to being in a victim situation that you think that me calling it out is being a victim where I'm trying to prevent from being victimized. So I think there's a correction taking place now where we see like the not like us situation. We're kind of circling our wagon, circling our culture. Because even up until like 2 years ago, they were telling us we don't have any culture. And I'm telling us our culture is toughness. And now we're kind of latching on to that. And, it's a good thing to see.
You know what ethnicity got the highest rate of suicide in America?
Who?
Let me guess. Native Americans.
Yep. American Indian, Alaskan Natives. Yep.
So-called Native
Americans. I was trying to or send it to the chat to where I can look at it. Run down, I guess, like the top 5 or 6 of them.
Now I'm not sure how this is. I was
attempting, I couldn't find it.
So this is per 100,000 per 100,000 people in terms of the rate. So when you hear this number, it's not a percentage, it's per 100,000 people. So if we keep that in mind too, it gives us some more perspective. But the highest is 43.4, what they call American Indian / Alaskan Native, 43.4. Second is white at 30, and then after that is black folk at 14.8. So there is a significant, and that's the males specifically. The males specifically. The women, you still see the same trend in terms of first, second, third. Actually, Asian women commit suicide at a higher rate than black women. Black women and Hispanic women are at 3 and 3.3. But when you look at, say, the white man at 30 versus the white woman at 7.5, and you see the black man at 14.8 versus the black woman at 3.3.
They too selfish to take it.
We shut up.
See, I will argue the opposite. I will argue the opposite. If like,
of course you would,
but like, no, like what do you think is more selfish?
Nah, you're right. I'm totally against that, because my thing is, when you do that, it's the people around you that gotta take care of everything. And so it is a selfish act. I'm just saying, for women in general, I would say not selfish. They're more, I would say, narcissistic to a degree, to where they'll go through all types of struggle. They'll do everything but that, like, because they have more likelihood of being saved by a man than a man being saved by a man. So, or the government will save them, but they have more opportunity to be saved as a woman than a man. And I feel like that's why the gap is so large, because I mean, it's just harder. And nobody trying to save no dude out here.
And if I could throw in, half of those Native Americans are really Europeans, like Elizabeth Warren. Somebody mentioned that in the chat. And that's a good point. Like the real Native American, the real Aboriginal Americans have the lowest suicide rate.
She did say she was Native American. They got her up out of here quick.
But nonetheless, this is a push to the more,
and a lot of that suicide shit is in Middle America. When you look at the state maps, like it's in these rural, isolated, like type of. It's like it's like you don't really see those high rates where you see like densely populated areas.
That's all the places that are red on the map. That's probably why the birth rate.
Yo, Q. They also break it down by method. Now, this is getting some deep, darker type level here.
We ain't got
yeah, I'm about to say, well, they break it down by method: firearms, suffocating, poisoning, and other.
But I guess I forget who was making the point of the race thing. So it looks like it's American Indian, there's white, then there's black, and then below us is Hispanic and Asians. So we're what, third out of 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, you said below us is Hispanic.
Yeah, Hispanics commit at a lower rate, and
it looks like we're 3 and they're 4. Oh, I see. I'm looking at the females.
Yeah, right here.
But I mean, like when you talk about out of 100,000, 12 to 14 to 10, like that's not even like a percentage difference.
But right. I think that when you get into that, but nonetheless, if we want to say percentage wise, we all commit inside similar spaces, sure. Or you know what I mean, like depending on where we're trying to make the argument at. But I understand what you're saying.
43 is crazy.
It's like everybody's in the same ballpark except for white folks and what they call American Indians.
Yeah, white people.
It's the guilt.
But that was the point that I was making, where like the fact that their rate is so high, it's kind of hard to look at that as being just like a you know what I mean, ignoring mental health as being like something that is beneficial for the. You said what?
It sounds like it's not our issue, honestly. It sounds like that's an issue they need to deal with amongst themselves. Like
I understand the point that you're making. Yeah. Oh, Johnny, my bad, Johnny.
Well, why are we even talking about it? It's not. We good.
Gotcha. Well, all right, then I guess I'll land Land with Trey with this one. Do you think that mental health is an actual issue within the
not for us? And apparently no. It sounds like we had bigger fish to fry. It sounds like as far as numbers go, I mean, I want to sound real dark and I'm gonna get canceled. It sounds like it's kind of working in our favor, honestly.
But mental health does bridge, expand bigger than just that one self deletion example. That's just specific to self deletion, not like the greater scope of.
I get what you're saying, because it kind of, when you talk about like the Dirks, I've never seen this much emotional rap in my life, bro. Like a bunch of whining and mumbling over auto tune. It's like the new genre, bro. I can't.
Hey Trey, never mind. I ain't gonna put you out there. I ain't gonna talk about that.
I know we've been having this conversation a long time.
Hold on, Johnny. What you know, Johnny? Hey.
It sound like Trey used to make records where he was whining.
This nigga was an emo.
When it comes to this music, Trey got we gotta get into it.
Trey was inside his emotional bag too. I know.
No, not at all.
I heard your record.
Trey.
I was like, I told him I can't. We were in the car, passing the peace pipe. And I was like, finally, I got tired of all this emotional music. Like, it was like when he got the ops, it was always something emotional going on. So, we've been talking about this emotional rap since 2014.
You ain't like the fact that. Damn.
No, bro. It's like talking about Chance the Rapper. He's always in his feelings. With some J. Cole. You got a list. You had a playlist of emo rap, bro.
Oh, yeah.
These niggas was just playing sad stories with the peace pipe going around.
I was like, bro, turn that shit off, bro.
I need drugs and exploitation of women.
No, I don't want no drugs, man.
I need ass. I need tits and ass. TNA.
Body yaddy.
Or some bars like Wayne. Skies. I want to hear some Skies the Limit.
That's how that emotional shit started. Trey Wayne was on all that emotional shit back in the day.
Yeah, sure.
He was on that Skies the Limit more.
Nah, like Trey Wayne had all them emotional tracks. Bro.
Nah, Wayne won't emo, man.
No,
right.
He had
a stretch.
Wayne was a diverse. He's a diverse artist.
He said, "I don't care if she a prostitute, bro. Like that's emotional as hell."
Yeah, and he said he had a song. I feel like. He said, "I feel like dying." Yeah,
like that's emotional. Like that was emotional as hell. I don't care.
The whole verse was the whole poetry session. That's what it was. Think of when in the trees. If you remember the song, you know what it is.
But then we had like, what's his name? Jeezy. That's what I want to hear some motivation.
Drugs and killing and shit.
Oh, you giving the white boy credit for the black man's genre.
Hey, Jeezy was emotional at that battle.
So of all the hip hop you want to listen to a white boy?
I said Jeezy the Snowman.
I thought you said G-Eazy. My bad,
bro,
my bad.
I cannot stand G-Eazy.
Yo, I thought you said G-Eazy. I really thought he said G-Eazy, bro. I swear he thought G-Eazy, bro. I was like, not Trey.
Hey,
no.
I know Trey don't want to listen to G-Eazy.
My boy Trey would never. My boy Trey
would never. Man, hilarious.
How you feel about Eminem?
Bro, I think when people say no, would he be popular if he wasn't white? Would anybody know who he was?
Hey Trey, did he have a better?
He'd be Supernatural. Y'all remember Supernatural from back in the day?
Well, no. Let me ask him this. Hey Trey, who had the better verse
underground
on Renegade?
freestyle artist?
Who had the better verse on Renegade?
Jay-Z, clearly, bro.
That's not.
You think Eminem had a? Because I can't relate to Eminem, bro. He's a psychopath.
That's not the right answer.
Gee, who had the better verse?
See, this is one where as a kid I thought originally I would say M got J, but then as an adult when I listen to the verses I don't say that. I say J got M. Like
Jay changed his verse.
Well, but
I mean Eminem made the beat, my nigga. Like he produced the whole track. Like it's Eminem's beat.
Eminem got the better verse.
But all the things that make a rap verse better, in my opinion.
What's the most quotable line from the whole song?
30 Christians whistling against me. Got to whistle like that one.
No, you don't know it. The most memorable line is, "I chose my own fate, drove by the fork in the road, and went straight." Like that's the most memorable bar of the whole joint. Like,
to be honest, I really don't remember a lot of bars off of it.
Nigga, and you know this is high school era.
Like, who has the most memorable bar off of that? It's like whose verse was fire.
I mean, but if I don't remember your bars, then how is it the most fire verse?
When you push play again, everything that you judge a fire verse off.
You said he made the beat, so that means like his verse went with the beat.
I think M's like flow on the beat and everything. Like
better.
The flow, yeah, exactly. Like
we talking about creativity and the content, better.
G went out in the middle of that terrible take. Oh,
yeah, so you think saying Jay-Z had a better verse on Renegade is a terrible take?
That's not a terrible take.
Damn, you just
y'all probably think Ether is better than.
I think Eminem's the most overrated rapper ever.
We gonna hold a conversation.
Jay-Z on the beat.
I'm about to say the crazy thing is
that song.
The crazy thing is I don't.
Jay-Z's
like
also
Eminem
overrated,
at all.
to be fair.
I don't like Eminem at all.
I'll give you that.
And that back and forth, I don't even think it's like really questionable. And then we play like hindsight, couch, like quarterback revisionist history. It's kind of like when people be like, "Nah, Ether wasn't better than Takeover," or whatever you kind of want.
It wasn't better.
It clearly was better. Stop.
It was better.
Stop.
No way.
Stop.
All right, so I understand where we're at. We got like the
Ether's a better song than Takeover.
Absolutely,
like better diss.
Oh no.
Not even a
better diss.
Not even a question.
And okay, all right. So I understand what we're saying. I understand where we're at now.
No.
I didn't get it, but now I get it.
G, come on. You said come on. Take it back, G.
Bro, Ether is not a better song than Takeover, bro. Nah.
When you get smoked in the battle, what they say happened to you? You got
Ether.
Takeover.
The reason why this nigga Jay lost the battle was with that Super Ugly. That's why he lost the battle with Super Ugly.
When Ether dropped.
We talking about Ether and Takeover.
He officially lost. No, that's not when he officially lost when Super Ugly dropped and it was trash. That's when he lost.
But
Ether came out.
Ether and Takeover.
Bro, Ether came out like a year after Takeover, bro. Like or months after. Like
it was about 4 months, 5 months, 6 at the most.
And then Jay-Z emotionally went up to the damn thing, the radio station, and dropped Super Ugly prematurely, being gassed up by Irv Gotti. He shouldn't have did it. He shouldn't have. That was his misstep. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. I think that Tara has a point. She said this is the most passionate that we've had a conversation, and it's about a verse. That's hilarious.
Hey man, niggas. Hey man, that's the era. Hey, look, that's the era though. That's the era. Like that's where niggas come from.
This is Trey least passionate.
Trey
damn about it.
Trey, you don't go to the barbershop, bro.
I go to
the FBA. You ain't real FBA.
Oh, he got the Tethers giving him a line, but yeah, he talk about the Tethers lineup all the time. Now if that don't make no sense, how you gonna trust a Tether to line you up when the first thing you point to is a Tether hairline, my nigga? Like, don't even make no sense.
You shouldn't have said.
John put me on.
Don't talk to me. Don't point to me. Don't point to me.
John's suggestion.
Johnny not real FBA. He been wearing that hat for too long.
Hey Trey,
y'all get to see that.
Johnny got on like a Spanish poppy shirt right now. I don't know what this nigga is right now. If he FBA, yes.
Hey, but not Trey know what kind of headline I got. I got to go to the Dominicans. You ain't got to go there, Trey.
Yeah, he got that mulatto side here.
Man.
I love for y'all guys to as again we're kind of getting into like the call-in section soon, but I love for y'all to respond to this comment. It says, what is funny is you will all stand firm on your stances on this, but cave like wet boxes, wet cardboard.
Please join the call-in link.
Stances on the things that actually matter. So to Tara G, I think, well, I don't know if I typically, yeah, well, I'm usually moderating, but to speak for all the guys, or I don't want to speak for everybody, but the general sentiment that I take away from all of these conversations here and on the To Be Fair show is that we're all coming in a conversation in good faith. So, like, we're not dogmatic inside most. Well, there's certain things that we are dogmatic on, i.e., like these stances with like these records, right? But in general, I think that with new information, everybody is adapt to change. If it is properly vetted information and like within the conversation with really good points. At least I know that I am. I'm typically trying to have like a fair, genuine, good faith conversation where I come in open-minded, and then where I end up swaying just kind of depends on how the conversation has unpacked the new information that I've gotten. But that's it.
Go to the next one.
That is very general. Don't take it so serious.
Oh damn. Go to the next one.
Hey, listen.
See, this is what I'm saying.
All right, that's the first time you became a feminist.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she talk about feminism, but want to talk about niggas mansplaining. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And we got to see if she even really a woman. Like, I just want to know who she really is.
I want to put that on her. Come on.
I want to know who she really is.
AG, I've seen them boys. I've seen them boys in the chat. She better be a woman.
Oh, no, you do. I dig it.
No, she clearly. I mean, you can tell by the takes, bro. Like a dude wouldn't.
I want to know. I want to know her genuine thoughts, or if she just in the comments trolling. That's all I'm saying. Like, everybody leave, comments in.
She said, "I wanted y'all to blame feminism for something." Good fucking.
So she got her own motives.
All right. So as we're getting to it,
Kamu gonna show his face every time.
Welcome. Hey, but I appreciate it. I love
it. Shout out to the motherland.
And then it is big, and then the other side of it,
coming in 9 on the list.
They ain't my mama.
God damn.
But shout out to your land though, bro.
But shout out Kamu wake up early just to watch this.
Kamu home squad.
Nah, he is
home team for sure.
More than anything, we got to make sure we bring in Kamu every week, because I think that he comes with like very interesting takes. Kamu, talk to us. The question is: has mental health conversation become a helpful solution or a toxic crutch? This also would be in like with context that we did look up the suicide rate, the self-deletion rates by countries. Unfortunately, I think America, inside developed nations, we are kind of like one of the leading ones. I know South Africa was top 10. I can't remember exactly where it kind of landed at. So with all that in context, I'd love to get your answer.
Sure. How's it, gents? I'm shocked at the stats. I have come across quite a bunch of scholarly articles suggesting that most people who sign out are actually affluent people. So to see that that country, number one country, is a country within my country. Actually, it's a country with my people. I am Musutu, but there is more of us in South Africa than there is in Lesotho. So I'm actually shocked to find out that they are leading in suicide, because I have been reading a lot of articles suggesting that affluent nations are actually leading in suicide. Even in South Africa, I think the rate, obviously the percentage, the black percentage is higher, but the rate of white male is bigger than the rate of black men going out. So I'm actually shocked at these stats. I don't know, but I will tell you this though: most of the countries that are in the top 30 are, most of them, if you can look at them, they are CIA infiltrated countries.
Oh, sure.
South Korea,
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. I can.
So there might be an agenda.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because we've known that Lesotho has been struggling with dealing with HIV. You see, us in South Africa, we have free medication for HIV. We've been we've been doing well with it. We have a high rate of people infected with it, but we are treating it well. Lesotho, they've been struggling to get the drugs and everything else. So the suggestion that they are the leading country in suicide, bro, it's a shock to me. But again, yeah. Do I think that what was the question again?
Has the mental health conversation become helpful, like a helpful solution for people to actually deal with whether it's their traumas, their their diagnoses, whether like some people might have like antisocial or personality disorder, like you can go down like a bunch of different lines of things, or has it become a toxic crutch? And when people use it as a scapegoat to blame people or blame things or like give themselves an excuse.
And do you even have those conversations in South Africa?
Yeah, it's a very big discourse. Okay. But I see Russia is there. Before you came to this question, you were dealing with the question of stoicism. I think Russia is one of the most stoic. Is one of the most countries with stoic.
That's true.
Yeah.
You say it again.
Be too.
Yeah, Trey, you want to elaborate? Trey, you want to elaborate on that point?
Hey, but isn't Russia up there on that list though too?
That's the point. Trey's about to make his point too. He say he agreed with Kamu with Russia being stoic and such a what was it, Trey?
I think Putin that's been able to help him be such a great leader over there.
A great
a great leader. Like whatever he says, what he says he needs to do, he gets it done. Like when he didn't allow NATO to encroach on his borders and put weapons there, he didn't allow them to the Donetsk region and starts in like LFK or something like that. Those two regions that were
Luhansk.
Yeah, they were getting they were being ethnically cleansed by the Russian speakers were being ethnically cleansed, and he gave multiple warnings in his negotiation, and he ended up doing what he had to do over there. And unlike the United States and unlike the 1948ers, he is moving way more strategically. He didn't just go in and just blow it all up the way we did in Iraq with what they call it. I can't remember the name of it's like shock and awe. Like he's moving very slowly, and then the media will tell you that he's incapable. But what do they want? They want him to just take our approach and just blow it all this, So I think there's a spin that we need to be aware of, because I saw another stuff. The CIA, it's called Operation Mockingbird. Well, basically they fund all these organizations across the globe, and the media is an arm of the government. So if you just take what they say and then take things like Dyson, who's a clear operative, and put out hit piece on our leaders and you just take his word for it, then I think you will do yourself an injustice by just accepting the narrative that they put out for you to see. Same thing they're doing with Kamala Harris, with got the twerk lady out there twerking for votes. Like, you can't just go by mainstream media, bro. But anyway, yeah, and if Russia is stoicism, I think that's much better leadership, because look at what we have in Biden standing next to Putin. Are you really trying to tell me that you don't think Putin is a better leader than Joe Biden?
But that's not a good
That's
that don't mean like that don't mean like that don't mean, but just because you're better than mean you're good. You see what I'm saying? Like just because you're better than Biden, just because you're better than Trump, don't mean you're like the standard.
But if Biden is our representative, how dare we talk about Putin, bro?
Me, I got the point I was driving about.
Could somehow neither one of us like neither one of us control who got up there. It ain't like I mean,
yeah, we do have a say because we vote as Black people in America. We vote Democrat 90%, and if not for us, we put Obama in office, we put Trump out of office, and did we put Trump by not voting and participating in the election?
We put Biden in office as Black people.
We put Biden in office too, because we are the backbone of the Democratic Party. And that's that.
So I mean, like us as Black people, we only as good as a leader.
And we chose Biden because the most folks told us to.
What that say about us, Trey?
It says that we need to quit listening to them old niggas.
Gotcha. And making sure. So when you say Putin is a better leader, are you judging that off of like the I guess the cruelty of like how he?
I kind of want to agree with him though. Like I kind of want to agree with him.
So go move to Russia then, my nigga, and be Brittany Griner.
No, this is Trey's point. Don't talk to me like that. This is Trey's point.
I'm just saying, like.
So you think
niggas don't fuck with none of the laws, none of the none of the anything.
Bro.
Like if you speak out against him, and yes, he leads with an iron fist. But is that what we're saying makes a good leader?
That's what it sounds like.
Look what we did to Snowden. And look what we did to the people that were the whistleblowers against our war crimes. And then how can we talk about Brittany Griner? You know how many Black people that Kamala Harris put in jail?
No, it's like I don't even know how we go from Brittany Griner to Kamala Harris. I don't even understand that.
Because your point is that
I'm talking about Biden.
Your point is they arrested Brittany Griner for weed. I'm saying in America, we got all kinds of Black people in jail for weed.
Bro, they did more than arrest her, my brother. They did more than arrest her. They did way like that was like, bro, don't even compare that to a regular stand. Most niggas can get a ticket. If Brittany Griner is in America and gets caught with weed, she's getting a ticket and going home at the most. Like,
bro, we got brothers doing life in jail for weed right now as we speak.
Not over a vape pen though, nigga. She got caught with a vape pen.
Speaking of,
what's the difference?
But nobody's doing life over a blunt, Trey.
Yeah,
let's be honest. Nobody's doing life over a blunt, my nigga.
If it's your third strike with the Biden crime bill, and those bills,
it gotta be your third felony though. A blunt ain't a felony.
Blunt ain't a felony. That's like nobody's doing life over a blunt, Trey. Like let's just put it in proportion, bro. Like
what about the repeat offenders?
Trey, a blunt is not a felony, bro. Like
what about repeat offenders in California?
It's still not a.
You wouldn't get life,
simple.
Bro, you're talking about life over that. That is extreme hyperbole. Come on, I know he got his joint up. Pause.
Oh no, gents. I think Trey,
you're talking about his hand or his blunt.
I get yeah. Before you get that, but Trey, you didn't like engage with the statement that I asked at all.
What was? Can you repeat that?
So when it comes down to like when you're speaking of a leader, what is the big differentiation outside of Putin ruling with an iron fist and like pretty much you can't say anything outside of his rule? What makes him a better leader than Biden?
I think when you say
or is that what makes him a better leader than him?
I think when you say he rules with an iron fist, you're just echoing Western media propaganda a lot of the time.
Oh, okay.
I think they have propaganda against us as well.
So you do believe that you can speak out and protest against Putin in Russia?
It depends because don't we have people in jail from the Black Panther generation who are still in prison today in America?
Yeah, but I could go and say fuck Trump right now.
Yeah,
or fuck Biden, whoever it is. I could be like,
I think Russia and China kind of like
we wouldn't even be able to have this show in Russia.
Yeah, we would all be in jail in Russia.
That's fair. That's fair. I think
we would all be in jail in Russia.
The freedoms we fought for America are, they don't have those in Russia. And that's
when
fair.
You can be a dictator, you can yield an iron fist. But does that make you better?
Hey, hold on, Quinn. I think I know what Trey's saying. Maybe can I speak? Can I maybe summarize your point? You're saying outside of the freedoms that historically this country has given leaders, based on the situation that Putin is in and the situation that Biden is, Putin is doing more with what he has, and Biden has this great country that he's leading, and he's kind of fucking it up. Is that what you're saying?
I'll say that, and I'll add on to that, bro. We're so free, we can't even define what a woman is.
Well, it's like those
He's talking to y'all Democrats. He's talking to y'all blue.
Luxuries.
He's talking for everybody voting for Kamala right there.
Those are luxuries of first class. But if I'm not mistaken, G, didn't you just say that Russia is what? Is that second class, third?
They're considered a developing country still to this day. They're not considered
like a developing country that has one of the higher suicide self-deletion rates. I'm trying to understand what is the part that you're saying that he's leading them better in a good.
We're saying
40.
We're saying historically, like the way their country is set up and the way our country is set up.
You would want to live there.
Well, no. He's not talking about the country. The country has been set up way before each of these leaders took the helm. Like the politics of each country, the freedoms that we have or don't have, all of that was set in place before Putin became the leader or Biden became the leader. That has nothing to do with who's a better leader. He's just talking specifically in the situation they're dealing with. So what are the things that you're saying that he's leading at better? That doesn't deal with like how much
being a dictator. Yeah.
Trey, that's your question.
What do I think he's doing at leading at better? I think he's more defensive of his country. He would never allow like tens of millions of illegals to come in and then they give them the right to vote, and then their vote counts just as much as the vote that our people fought and died for.
So what about the fact he might suppress his own citizens' right to vote in certain situations? Is that an example of good leadership?
You said he might suppress. Like, what evidence do you have of that?
Alexander Navalny,
bro, like
he's dead.
Like, do you not understand like how this nigga rules with an iron fist? Like, literally, you get down or lay down. Like, I let Kamo
go ahead.
You guys took a whole different direction. That wasn't the point I was trying to make. The point
my bad,
with Russia that as a stoic country, most men in Russia are built to be stoic. Hence, most of them sign out because that if you are expected to be that all the time, it goes against
human nature.
It goes against.
That's what
it can't be. Yeah, it's not a characteristic that you can hold on to every day of your life. That was the point I was driving. Now, comparing Russia and American democracy is it's a whole different topic, but we could go to that as well. Socially, Russia is doing well, G, compared to y'all.
Compared to us?
Compared to us? Well, would you Kamu, if you could move to Russia or the United States, where would you move?
Definitely Russia.
Yo, black ass.
Oh wow.
Like, black. Like as a black man, he gonna go to Russia.
He said definitely Russia. Mazel
tov. Russia, bro.
Mazel tov.
I mean, I don't even know if that's the right language. I'm just being ignorant too. Like Johnny going with me too. Like I repeated it. I was just being ignorant. But you would go to Russia? Really?
That's Yiddish.
Have you seen how they live, bro?
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the cities and?
Bro, we got drag queen story times, bro. Kamu probably don't want none of that.
Hey, tell him about Onyx.
Like how many cities do you think Russia like so like when you say have I seen their cities, like Russia from a city like standpoint, you think their architecture is impressive? Like what are you highlighting by their cities? What's so great about the cities?
Yeah, Moscow, St. Peter's, Samara, Kazan.
They ain't got no Onyx. They ain't got no Onyx.
New York City.
Bro, listen. America is fucked up. America is a fucked up.
Yes, bro.
Bro, Russia.
Yes.
All right.
I mean,
if you say so.
And I'm getting off this train. Listen, I'm gonna live in America or any of these countries.
No question. No
question. It's my homeland, but if I can start fresh and I wasn't
Trey,
didn't have any attachment.
So Trey, if you can start fresh, being who you are today, looking exactly how you look, you would just be a nigga born in Russia.
Bro, Russia is racist.
Tell a lie. Come on, Trey. Look at him.
Come on, man. Mr. FBA himself would rather be
I'm biased.
Russia.
I'm biased because I'm probably I'm biased.
I'm biased. You got to put the
FBA
FBA in front of your name today.
I'm too biased.
America's not perfect. I mean, but bro,
that's why you acting like that.
Like
but that doesn't mean stuff's not messed up here.
Stuff is messed up everywhere.
But at least it's not messed up in like we're messed up in the way we're becoming the new Sodom and Gomorrah, bro.
Bro, you don't even know what a woman is. I mean,
we don't, bro. We backwards as hell.
All right, bro, so don't let that rhetoric be the standard. Like that's not the real standard, bro.
How you know what a woman is?
I think that
do you know
95
people are
Trey, do
you know that people America should be host 2026 World Cup?
Trey,
you said what?
Because we don't fuck about that football shit y'all talking about.
I'm not the norm. You know that.
Camus said Trey don't know what a woman is, and I fail to believe that. Trey know what a woman is.
Camus didn't say that.
In reality, I think that if you go and walk the streets of America,
all of us don't know what a woman is.
95 to 98% everybody have a really concise opinion of what a woman is.
That's not PC. That's not PC, right? What you're saying right now, bro.
We're not talking about PC. We're not talking about.
But the reality would be that everybody, like the loud minority, and what you might see and hear inside in South Africa is that. But when you walk out, there's not like when you go anywhere a confusion of what a woman is.
Trey, if you ask what a woman is right now, we're going 5 for 5. What a woman is. We going 5
there's no confusion at all. Like that's social media discourse.
What does CNA say?
That's not true.
Trey,
then why do they put their pronouns on my job on the email?
That's a loud minority.
But at my job, people put their pronouns.
We are watching
CNN. Confused at who is a woman, like in
real
life.
Yeah, bro?
And Trey, the people that are saying that, how much money do they make? These are 100,000. These are hundreds. These are people in big money positions, right?
The majority of the people that are put Kamala Harris in office,
I'm a she, her. That's what they're saying.
You got to get paid 6 figures for somebody to care about your pronouns.
They doing a DEI initiative. You that's what's happening.
I think you're miscalculating how much this is gone rampant. Like I think that is
the fact that you would be in jail for having these opinions in Russia versus being able to have these opinions here and voice them publicly. I think it's like the base is enough.
Like in real life, Trey,
you are being in jail.
That you can't tell. Like you can tell.
What Camus said?
Look at Tara said Massachusetts just took father and mother off the birth certificates. Some places are making it illegal for you to have to you can go back and change your birth certificate, bro.
Woman is, Trey.
But we're codifying it into law. The person that got put on the Supreme Court, they asked her, "Can you define a woman?" And she said no. And she's the one that's going to make the laws of the land. And you think it's just a few people.
You, if you went behind closed doors, she can give you a really quick concise.
Bro, we know because right now they're saying black women voters. Man, I think y'all are misunderstanding this. Just how much this is really taking.
I think you overestimate it. I think you're doing what they do to Eminem as a rapper.
Inflating. Yeah, I feel that.
This is very relevant to our mental health conversation too, bro.
But you're telling me you're more concerned about quote unquote how someone can define a woman versus your own personal liberties and your ability to live a free life.
Man, I don't want us to. I don't know how much.
How do they define being a woman affects you or us or me? I know what woman is.
It depends on
what these motherfuckers call themselves.
I say it depends on what your values are.
No, he's asking you.
I'm asking you, you sound like you value more having clear definitions of man versus woman versus actually having civil liberties.
I'm saying,
was George Floyd?
Go ahead, Camus.
Was civil liberties?
Say it again.
Was George Floyd having civil liberties?
Bro,
Good point.
You can bring up George Floyd, right? But let me like, do you think George Floyd would have a better chance in Russia talking back to the cops?
Where are the cases?
Race soldiers? Yeah.
How many? No. Ain't no cases. How many black people? What's the population of black folks in Russia? Like percentage wise, what's the population wise? Plus,
I don't know.
But see, Camus, that ignores the reality of how the relationship of black people are in America versus black people to other parts of the world. In America, we were slaves. We descended from those slaves. They tried to keep us as slaves. They tried to keep us as a lower class. When you look at a country like Russia, that's not a Russia problem.
Did you see where Russia, where Putin showed all those pictures of the black nobility? Like,
yeah, but it goes like this idea of race.
The Hebrews. He showed that the black Jesus and all those people that they worship. He's more where in America they try to suppress that type of thing. So, and also a black man, Pushkin, is responsible for the Russian language.
How many black people are in Russia's leadership today, in any level?
Pushkin. I mean, it's not a mixed country.
But that's my point. This is my point. This is what I'm saying. Like, this idea that somebody on this panel would feel like they would be more comfortable in Russia than in America, I'm finding that difficult.
They straight off the Caucasus Mountains. I think
George Floyd in
Russia.
I think Rail has a shirt that says, it encompasses this whole thing. It sounds good.
It sounds
good. I think that's something that just
George
practice. There's no way in hell.
You don't think Russian police kill people?
I'm looking that up now.
You don't think Russian authorities put motherfuckers under
black ass on the street and you'll never
and then above that, do you think that they report every time that they kill somebody?
It gets reported. Exactly.
It
makes mainstream news.
But you discredit all American statistics, but you gonna believe Russian stats?
I know America has the highest incarceration rate in the world.
It's a business, it's privatized.
Oh, so basically slavery. So you're gonna point the finger at Russia when we got modern day slavery over here.
But bro, they don't have they don't have black people in the country. They didn't move slave. Like it's a different conversation, bro. It's like how we comparing how Russia.
There was a black woman that went over there, and there's not that many black people, and they arrested her and didn't
off of a vape pen, bro.
Off a vape pen, and you saw how they treated Brittany Griner. And like she was visiting, she was playing
a black woman.
She was hooping for an air league.
Okay, Trey, even better. She was a black man, whatever you want to call it.
She's Pops, my nigga. She calls herself Pops.
Yeah. Look, he don't know where we want to go with it. Kamu, go ahead. Hop in, Kamu.
Okay, let's leave Russia for a minute. Let's look at how Russia behaves in Africa, and let's look at how America behaves in Africa.
Oh, that's why. So you also love to go to China before you came to America too, right? Because of that reason.
Oh no.
Because I'm using your logic. China invests a lot more in Africa than America does, and they ally more with Africa than America does. Why not go to China too?
Hey, go ahead.
China's behavior to Africa is also different from Russia's behavior. Let's look at them. Let's assess their behavior.
Okay. Break it down.
Russia is helping, defeat. There's a
Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger.
Sahel nation. Exactly.
Right.
But
Russia
is
take the West out.
Why?
Because they don't like the West.
Because they love y'all niggas.
I wouldn't say they love us.
He's pushing the goalposts, bro.
No. They open up their borders for their refugees. I know. That's what they're doing.
No, bro.
Oh, they're not doing that. Okay.
They ain't got no love for the South.
No, but like,
it's Russia's behavior is helping. Russia's behavior is they're helping those countries that just kicked out the French. They're helping them kick out the rest of the West.
But not helping them because they have good hearts, bro. It's a strategy play. The same reason why China's investing in Africa too. It's a strategy play.
I do want to hear Kamu. Hop in, Kamu.
You understand? They're building railways there, bro. Like infrastructure, nuclear plants, and everything else. When you look at the deals that concessions that they make there, bro, it's fair concessions, and the attitude that they come with, it's not a disrespectful attitude that America comes with. Hence, most nations want to cut ties with America, bro, because America is arrogant. You do what we say, you do what we tell you to do, or you will do what we are telling you to do. That's an attitude of America.
That's called get down
Iron Fist. That's good leadership, according to Trey. That's great leadership.
Well, America doesn't have an Iron Fist where Kamala Harris is arresting people's mothers for truancy.
Look, I'm just saying, you the one bigging up Iron Fist.
Crime bill Biden. That's not an Iron Fist. Where even if it's, all the highest incarceration rate in the world.
You was giving props to the Iron Fist.
No, Biden. I said Biden. Biden's not a black woman. Biden wrote the crime bill. The Clintons wrote the crime bill, so that with help with the Congressional Black Caucus. America, I think we're kind of crazy to point the finger at Russia when we have our own stuff to deal with. We look crazy as hell, bro. And I think you're just biting into a lot of the Western propaganda.
Bro, exactly. The fact that you would rather live in Russia than America, I think you're biting into the Russian propaganda.
Not me, because I'm an American, but I don't trust the media. I think y'all are very trusting of the media, because you were just quoting a Democratic shill about one of the greatest Black Americans of all time.
Bro, nobody quoted anybody. I told you he wrote a book. Like,
you're referencing him. That's your only evidence.
I didn't directly quote the nigga. He wrote a book.
But you can't give me. You don't have any evidence, though.
No, nigga. The evidence is the book. What are you talking about? What you mean, no evidence?
Yeah, he's a big Kamala Harris fan.
But you also but also nothing from the FBI would any recordings don't matter either, right?
Bro, did you hear the recordings?
Hey, what her name was? Lucille.
Q, did you record the recordings?
No, I didn't say that. I said no. I said, did you hear the recordings? If you didn't hear the recordings, then you're just repeating gossip.
Okay.
Which is
so very, Trey, Trey, you can say that about all research then. If you didn't do it yourself, then you can't read what somebody else's research suggests.
Hey, man, you better let
that's not true.
That's what you're saying. If you didn't witness the evidence yourself, you can't take somebody else's research in their words and their account of what
it goes all the way to like, do you
that's called
anything you read?
But Trey, I've heard you quote Columbus's diaries about his depiction of how natives look, but we're gonna take Columbus' word for that, even though we didn't see it.
There are like 20 different ones that say the same thing over a vast, long period of time from multiple different countries.
That's enough evidence for you. That's enough evidence.
But you have one Democratic shill.
It's not one, bro.
Who's repeating gossip.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just one. He wrote one book with.
Then tell me, give me more evidence.
I gave you the link. The link is there. You should check out the book.
But you read the book. So why can't you tell me you read the book? Why I gotta read the book? You read the book already.
I'm not one of these niggas who just walk around with talk tracks and quotes in their brain of like I don't have a goal to take MLK down. I was just saying that there's a book out there that is written like objectively, and you should check it out. And it's not even like you're acting like the book isn't all about his transgressions and adultery. It frames an entire arc. It doesn't just talk about the fact that he cheated on Coretta.
Man, if you're gonna make a claim like that, you're gonna have to have more evidence and read the book. Read the book. Like you read the book. What did the book say?
I didn't told you that he cheated, nigga. And you saying it's not enough evidence.
So the quote, your evidence is that he said that she said.
Bro, it's not so that means you can't quote any books, Trey. You can't quote any books. You can't quote any researcher books.
Bro,
you can't quote them.
Yo, I think Trey, there's nothing wrong, bro, with black men sitting down and assessing forebears and people who came before us. There's nothing wrong. The only issue I think that should be taken into consideration is that you should not be allowed to do that on platforms that you are, seen by Caucasians, Chinese,
right.
But as black men, we can sit down, GthaKing did this and did that, and maybe this wasn't, advisable to do. This wasn't ideal. We can do that. It's allowed, bro.
But we're disrespecting our leaders on a public platform for white people to hear off of he say, she say.
Trey, you keep calling it he say, she say. Like
Eric said, Dyson told us what she said.
That means all books are he say, she say. Like I'm just using your logic.
No. Some books actually have cited facts and evidence that beyond.
But did you see it? But did you see the evidence?
You quoted the tell-all book, bro.
No, look. see, you see it. It's not even a point going back and forth,
bro. She wouldn't even go on the record and say it, and his wife said it's not true. But you believe what this Democratic shill said,
bro.
I'm saying your wife supposed to not think.
His wife said it's not true.
Because she didn't.
And this lady was hush mouth about it. She didn't say anything either. And if the FBI had
show me your proof of the wife saying it wasn't true.
Bro, it's the burden of proof is on.
No. Show me your proof of the wife saying it wasn't true.
Your wife's supposed to say it's not true though. Like, why was she?
Where did she say that?
These days. Not these days.
Did you hear her say it wasn't true?
This was back in the day, Trey. This was back in the day.
Bro.
Did you hear a recording of her?
Did you hear that recording of her saying it wasn't true? That's the key.
Look. Did anybody believe what they said about Clinton until Monica Lewinsky came with the dress with the proof on it? That's how hard they go for that.
A lot of people did. That's why they took this nigga to trial. That's why that Leno, Janet Reno person like did all that she did. Like, no, they were out to get this dude.
Yeah, they was believing
Janet
Reno. I don't even know.
He was innocent until
that name.
But he had to be proven guilty. I don't think you've proven Martin Luther King guilty. Like, show me. She needed to bring a dress with the evidence on it, like they did with the same thing that it took to bring down Bill Clinton, the same thing it took to bring down Bill. They didn't even bring down Bill Cosby on that because he's a free man.
We gotta have a stain,
bro. I want some evidence, bro. I don't want to just hear what somebody said.
Hey, Johnny, you watch football, right?
Yeah.
Who's like the best field goal kicker inside the league right now?
I don't know right now, but historically it's Vinatieri.
Right.
Adam Vinatieri, historically. I can't tell you.
Could he hit it if you move the goalpost?
He probably
I got
could.
you, man. If y'all want to rag on MLK with loose evidence on this platform, I think that's very off code, man. But I'm just going to stand my ground on this, bro. You got it. Martin Luther King was an adulterous cheater, and we need to talk about that right now. I got you. and Huey Newton was a crackhead too, according to y'all. Let's go.
No, A Black said that. The mayor of Charlotte said that. I didn't. No, that was A Black.
I mean, this is crazy, bro.
That was A Black.
I'm mad disappointed, bro.
We didn't say that.
Like, we ain't going nowhere as a group, bro. Like we ragging on our greatest leader.
You do have, Trey. You do got selective evidence. We got like your burden for evidence changes when it benefits what you want to say versus when it doesn't. Like,
it doesn't, because you just said that my evidence. Because if it was just what Columbus said, then that wouldn't matter. But there's like 20 different explorers that all said the same thing. If there were 20 different women that all were able to give information.
What about Bill Cosby? There are more than 20. So what's that excuse?
Well, some of those women, when they tried to prove what they did, they weren't even there at the time.
Exactly.
They proved it. They said that Bill Cosby wasn't even. Some of the women said Bill Cosby did some things.
Trey,
some women said that Bill Cosby did some things, and Bill Cosby wasn't in town.
They don't ask about R. Kelly.
The standard changes.
R. Kelly.
Don't ask about because if R. Kelly.
What about R. Kelly, Diddy, etc.? Like, but I guess the standard changes.
If we taking
R. R. Kelly is on video.
Jay-Z. Who else?
So you actually are a nigga who admit that is R. Kelly on the video, because a lot of niggas be like, that wasn't him.
I mean, as far as you know, it's him. As far as you know, it's him. I think that's a lot more evidence than what you have on MLK. That's for damn sure.
Trey don't care. He don't care.
If it was MLK on the video, I would be making this article. We don't have MLK on video. I haven't heard any recordings. All I know is what Dyson said that some lady said.
We don't got native FBAs on video, but yet we believe
we actually do. We have art and archaeological evidence along with firsthand accounts of this.
They did not arrive here with a camcorder. What video did they record with the first boats? Like help me understand
the camera was invented
in the 1600s.
They had cameers in the 1800s.
I'm talking about when they first got here in the city.
But there were still Aboriginal Indians into and through the 1800s. We still got them here today.
Did you see the video of them?
Yes, I saw pictures of black Indians in the full Indian garb that had been there.
Like not pictures that niggas drew, but like real video.
Yes, photography.
Yeah, I want to see some of the Black Kings.
Okay, word. And I can also send you pictures of the art that they had that drew
in the
them
1600s. In the 1600s,
bro, they have ancient artifacts that they found that are black.
No,
Like
I'm talking about the video that you saw of these folks in the 1600s.
No, it's not video, it's photography. It's pictures of Native Americans.
Is it even real photography or like drawings?
No, it's an actual picture. It's a picture.
What about that
black,
Kelly video?
Native, black Aboriginal people.
Like where they had to develop the film in one of those dark rooms type joints.
Yes.
So they had dark rooms in the 1600s with a light bulb camera and everything.
No, it was the 1800s. No, it was 1800s.
So that's too late to start the story.
No, but they've been there since the 1600s. The Western expansion, you know that there are places that were untouched into the 1800s, right?
But where's your video to prove that?
That America, there's a Western migration?
Yeah, where's your video? Did you see it on camera?
Bro, that's historical facts.
Based on the white man.
But where did you see it though?
It was the white man.
Bro, I know it. When did these states become part of the United States of America? That's called Western expansion.
I'm just talking about when you saw it.
That's
all white history, Trey.
That sounds like false news, fake news.
All right, hey fellas. So this has been a very entertaining last hour of episode where we kind of just, we turned this into the after hours. I'll be honest. We turned it to the after hours, but I'm gonna try and rope us in before it get too late and make sure that we end the show on timing and give everybody their final thoughts on the actual topic for the episode, which somehow we've been able to kind of like move it all the way back to an FBA.
Hey, what that goalpost do? What that goalpost be like?
I mean,
you know how niggas used to play paper football at the cafeteria? You know how niggas and they be trying to flick it through the field goal. Niggas trying to move it through the paper football. Did y'all used to do that joint?
That's exactly what it's from. That's exactly what
all just to besmirk MLK and Huey Newton. Damn, that's crazy. The crackhead and the adulterer.
The crackhead and the cheater.
All right, so nonetheless, let's wrap on the idea of net negative, net positive.
I'm named after him.
When it comes down to the mental health conversation, do you think that it's did more good or bad inside these most recent times, the information age, 2010 and up? Has it been beneficial in being able to help people diagnose themselves, XYZ, or detrimental in the fact that it's made people who are readily healthy weak-minded? We got 3 minutes, so let's try and go 45 seconds each. We'll start with G.
The net of it is that the current movement has not been beneficial. It promotes this philosophy of stewing in your problems and not being solution oriented, not being accountable for where you are. I look at life pretty simple in that if you don't like where you are, you got to look in the mirror and figure out what you need to do different to put yourself in a different position. It's very simple. So I think we need the room for folks to get the tools to manage their emotions. But the way that it's been bastardized, unfortunately, it only perpetuates the negative emotions in a cyclical way. Doesn't help them break out of that. That's my opinion.
Trey, what's the proper balance between the two?
I think the focus needs to be on doing. And if you understand, if you've had to deal with situations, because there is a lot to deal with, especially being Black in America. But I think we need to be careful with making decisions based on how we feel. And I think we can really cap it off with this election situation now where as Black people, we vote emotionally a lot of times. And we need to be careful with that and then stay, calculated, cool, and collected, especially when we're making critical decisions.
Got you. I'm gonna go to Kamu and then to you, Johnny, just in case we run out of time. Kamu, you got about 20 seconds on it.
I think it's good and healthy to be critical of our leaders, analyze them, and kind of highlight their flaws and, as a way to sort of better ourselves. And it's allowed to do that amongst ourselves and beyond code amongst ourselves. Thank you.
Gotcha. Johnny, wrap the show.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say, hey, I love the discussion. Hey, I love the panel. It was a great one. Hey, shout out Mayor Charlotte. He started us off. But yeah, comment below what y'all think. If y'all want to keep it going, we're gonna be Sunday, 4:30 p.m. We'll be back here Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Hey, I appreciate the boys, appreciate the conversation. I guess we out.